Chapter 592. He couldn't find anything. Then he wouldn't investigate for now. Anyway, with the other party's strength, sooner or later, he would reveal some clues. For the ancient Buddha Emperor, he wasn't too worried about a newly advanced expert. After all, those who cultivated the law of power could go the furthest with their own strength. The ancient Buddha Emperor was still very confident about this. When the time came to block the path, he could still suppress the experts. Just as the ancient Buddha Emperor was peacefully recuperating, he suddenly opened his eyes again. Outside the ancient Buddha's secret realm, the sky for thousands of miles had turned crimson red. A murderous intent rose from the hearts of all the creatures, then invaded their minds. In an instant, everyone became ruthless. What had originally been a normal exchange and business transaction had suddenly turned into a huge fight, and even a battle to the death. Kill! Kill! Heaven and earth have been corrupted, and they need a massacre to cleanse it. A ghostly voice echoed in the area. Those who heard this voice, their eyes suddenly turned blood red, and they no longer showed any mercy. Kill! 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 Killing was everywhere. Some cultivators had an arm cut off, but they still grabbed another cultivator's throat and didn't let go. They even pounced on him and bit him until his flesh was badly mangled. There were also cultivators whose chests were pierced. But they still crazily hugged the enemy and died together. At this moment, the land for thousands of miles turned into an azure battlefield. Endless killing soared into the sky, and the crimson color in the sky became more intense. It didn't last long. An almighty stone man walked out of the ancient Buddha's secret realm. Looking at the hell-like scene in front of him, he was furious. Then, he put his palms together, and the Buddha light burst out, as if to disperse the crimson blood cloud in the sky. Who are you? How dare you come to my ancient Buddha clan's territory to kill? Show me your true form. The Buddha light soared, and the ancient Buddha Almighty slammed his palm toward the blood cloud. The void cracked. The blood cloud suddenly collapsed, but it quickly recovered. It was just that it was slightly thinner than before. At this moment, the land for thousands of miles was filled with ear-piercing laughter. The ancient Buddha Almighty frowned and said coldly, "Pretending to be mysterious." The true essence beneath his feet transformed into a golden lotus platform. Soon after, his petrified body sat down cross-legged, his mouth chanting some kind of incantation. Immediately, as the ear-piercing sound faded away, the numerous creatures that were slaughtering below also woke up. Sensing the injuries on their bodies, they immediately let out painful cries. The ancient Buddha clan is really annoying. With a sigh, a white palm emerged from the void and instantly appeared in front of the ancient Buddha. The ancient Buddhas had long expected this. Similarly, he struck out with his palm. The two palms collided. The void was instantly destroyed. When the ancient Buddha Almighty looked over, he happened to meet a pair of blood-red eyes. In his eyes, it was a brutal massacre. Who the hell are you? The ancient Buddha Almighty was shocked and immediately shouted. Who am I? I should be considered a human. No, I don't think I'm a human anymore. Then who am I? Sihahai fell into deep thought as he muttered to himself. After a long time, he raised his head to look at the ancient Buddha Almighty and smiled faintly. Who do you think I am? I don't care who you are. How dare you kill the creatures in my ancient Buddha territory? Today, I will eliminate the demon and defend the Tao. The ancient Buddha Almighty snorted coldly. He felt that there was something wrong with Sihahai. But something was wrong. The ancient Buddha Almighty couldn't say for a moment. But that didn't matter. He could feel that although the person in front of him was strong, he wasn't as strong as him. Since he dared to cause trouble in the ancient Buddha territory, he would kill him. Eliminate the demon and defend the Tao? Demon, yes, I am a demon. Ha ha ha, today, I will establish the demon clan. I will be the supreme demon Tao. Sihahai laughed maniacally and then roared at the sky. Demon clan. That's right, he was a demon. At that moment, Sihahai seemed to have understood his true nature. Rumble! As his words fell, there was a roar from heaven and earth. Above the crimson blood cloud, there was endless lightning circling. However, there seemed to be a large amount of golden light in the lightning. The two were entangled with each other. Very soon, the lightning was destroyed and the golden light weakened. Only a ray of golden light broke through the blood cloud and landed directly on Si-Han-Hai's body. In an instant, Si-Han-Hai's aura suddenly skyrocketed. The murderous aura between heaven and earth seemed to have something different at this moment. Seeing this scene, the ancient Buddha Almighty had a bad premonition in his heart. When he saw that Si-Han-Hai was still standing still, he didn't dare to hesitate and immediately launched an attack at him. The Buddha light was dense. It shattered the void. Si-Han-Hai looked at the attack that was bombarding him. Blood-colored vital essence burst out from his slender fingers and forcibly tore the Buddha light apart. Next, he took a step forward. His body seemed to have passed through the void and appeared behind the ancient Buddha Almighty. The claw tore. The golden light on the lotus platform shattered. The ancient Buddha Almighty had a bad feeling. Without thinking, he turned around and threw a punch, which collided with the claw. A terrifying power erupted. Si-Han-Hai let out an ear-piercing laugh. Under the vibration of this power, he had already disappeared. The next second, the blood cloud in the sky turned into a huge blood-colored lotus platform and swallowed the ancient Buddha Almighty. In the blood-colored lotus platform, the ancient Buddha Almighty sat cross-legged in the golden lotus platform. His expression was solemn as he guarded his heart. Around him, the murderous intent kept attacking, trying to pollute and transform it. The golden lotus platform shone brightly. The endless Buddha light was fighting against the murderous intent. From the outside world, the ancient Buddha Almighty had completely disappeared. There was only a blood-colored lotus platform left between heaven and earth. Without the suppression of the ancient Buddha Almighty, the murderous intent that had subsided spread again, causing the living beings below to instantly fall into a massacre. I see that your talent is not bad. Why don't you join my demon clan and become a guardian divine general? What's so good about the ancient Buddha clan? You're all made of stone. Even if you cultivate flesh and blood, you're still not a real living being. Join my demon clan and I'll give you a body of flesh and blood. The demonic voice reverberated in his ears. The ancient Buddha Almighty guarded his mind. His vital essence kept pouring into the golden lotus platform to ensure that he wouldn't be corroded by the blood cloud. He wasn't worried that something would happen to him at all, because this was the ancient Buddha territory. The experts of the ancient Buddha clan were all here. Not long later, there would definitely be experts coming. In the eyes of the ancient Buddha Almighty, although Si-Han-Hai was strange and powerful, he definitely wouldn't be able to stir up any waves in front of the ancient Buddha Almighty. How can we, the ancient Buddha clan, be on the same side as demons? Facing Si-Han-Hai's words, the ancient Buddha Almighty replied calmly. At this moment, in the blood cloud, Si-Han-Hai's figure appeared. He looked at the ancient Buddha Almighty and laughed. What is a demon? Is murderous intent a demon? You've cultivated an almighty body. How many massacres have you gone through? How many living beings have died in your hands? If I'm a demon, you should be a demon too. We come from the same origin. Don't resist anymore. You've already been stained with blood. The demonic nature in your heart is deeply rooted. Why do you have to deliberately suppress yourself? Come, join my demon clan. Si-Han-Hai seemed to have turned into thousands of incarnations. His voice constantly entered the ancient Buddha Almighty's ears. The ancient Buddha Almighty guarded his mind. He didn't answer Si-Han-Hai's words anymore. At this moment, blood-colored vital essence suddenly erupted and tore the golden light apart in an instant. The ancient Buddha Almighty who was guarding his mind was shocked. Without thinking, he moved to the side. The powerful attack only bombarded his arm. The stone shattered. Blood flowed. In the blink of an eye, it had recovered. Si-Han-Hai looked regretful and said with a smile, Why do you have to resist? At this moment, his face suddenly became solemn. Who are you, How dare you mess with my ancient Buddha clan? A vast aura rose from the ancient Buddha secret realm. A stone man's shadow suppressed the void. Next, a palm that encompassed the entire void universe directly pressed down on the blood-colored lotus. Rumble! In an instant, the blood lotus cracked as if it would shatter at any time. The ancient Buddha Almighty laughed. My Emperor has taken action. Your end is here. Ancient Buddha Emperor! Sihahai didn't intend to argue with him. He raised his head and looked at the vast shadow through the cracks of the blood lotus. Immediately, he looked at the ancient Buddha Almighty again and smiled evilly. I will come back for you. You were born to be a member of my demon clan. As soon as his voice fell, Sihahai's body suddenly disappeared as if he had never appeared. At the same time, a palm crushed the blood lotus and then released the ancient Buddha Almighty who was trapped inside. The ancient Buddha Emperor looked at the empty void. His divine consciousness swept across 100,000 miles, but he found nothing. After a while, the shadow suddenly disappeared. Everything returned to normal. Inside the ancient Buddha secret realm, the ancient Buddha Emperor looked solemn. He escaped quite quickly. The demon clan, I have never seen the so-called demon clan in ancient times. If I'm not wrong, there should be a living being who has become a demon. A living being who has become a demon. It was his first time seeing it. But in the ancient Buddha clan's long history, there had been corresponding records left behind. But in these records, there had never been any mention of the demon clan. The scene of the golden light that appeared between heaven and earth was clearly acknowledging the existence of this clan. Demon clan! Thinking of this, the ancient Buddha Emperor felt a little troubled. Sihahai's strength was not very strong, but the other party's method of escaping was really superb. Although he did not use his real body, the power of the incarnation was enough to suppress many almighty experts. But even so, in the end, Sihahai managed to escape, and he didn't even notice anything amiss. Regarding this, the ancient Buddha Emperor had to treat it seriously. As an expert, his instinct told him that the appearance of this demon clan was definitely not a good thing for the ancient Buddha clan. It's a pity that my body is injured now and I can't do it personally. Otherwise, you would not have the chance to escape. If there is a next time, it will be the time of your death. The ancient Buddha Emperor's heart surged with killing intent. Immediately after, in the ancient Buddha secret realm, an order was passed down. From today onwards, the ancient Buddha clan will kill the demon clan with all our strength. Immediately after, Sihahai's appearance appeared in the minds of all the ancient Buddha clan living beings. On this day, the ancient Buddha's secret realm shook. The ancient Buddha clan was a big clan. Although it was not as strong as the demon clan, it was not far off. Therefore, the matter that happened in the ancient Buddha clan spread out very quickly. The human race also received the same news. Just as Qin Shujian was about to leave for Cold Mountain City, Su Yuanming came to report to him about Sihahai. Demon clan! Qin Shujian was stunned. He did not expect Sihahai to really get rid of the identity of the human clan and call himself a demon clan. Not only that, he even dared to go to the ancient Buddha territory to cause trouble. This was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the other party's strength had increased too quickly. To be able to trap an ancient Buddha Almighty and escape without a sound when the ancient Buddha Emperor made his move, Lin Fan had to admit that he was extremely powerful. Such strength, Qin Shujian could not associate it with the original Sihahai. Demon clan! Godslayer sighed and said, It is extremely rare to establish an independent clan. There were once living beings who joined the demon clan, but they never established the demon clan. But it is different now. The establishment of the demon clan is not a small matter. Any clan that is established can bear the fate of heaven and earth. He is the only one in the demon clan, and the fate that he has obtained must be extremely powerful. I am sure that his strength transformation will definitely be beyond your imagination. Again, it is better to kill him if you encounter him. Otherwise, it will be a disaster for the world. God Slayer also did not expect this. A human cultivator who joined the demon clan could cause such a big commotion. Moreover, he established the demon clan. It wasn't easy to establish a race just because one wanted to. One had to understand one's heart. Finally, one could integrate with heaven and earth to establish a clan. In the past, living beings who joined the demon clan had long been eroded by killing, so how could they understand their heart? But God Slayer did not know. Why could Sihahai do it? Hearing this, Qin Shujian showed a faint smile on his face and said, "Why should I kill him? He is now against the ancient Buddha clan. What does it have to do with the human clan? Generally speaking, killing the living beings of the ancient Buddha clan is a good thing for the human clan. It is fine if such a figure is not engraved in the human clan's monument, but if we kill him, wouldn't we be a joke to the other clans?" He never thought of killing Sihahai. Before the alliance was broken, they were still allies to a certain extent. More importantly, Sihahai did not go against him. If he did not go against him, what kind of enemy was he? Qin Shujian could not wait for Sihahai to harass the ancient Buddha clan. It would be best if he could visit the demon clan and the god clan. But he also knew that this idea was not realistic. No matter how strong Sihahai was, he was only one person. With the other party's current strength, what kind of storm could a single person cause? Those big clans. None of them were easy to provoke. If he were Sihahai, Qin Shujian felt that he would pick on those small clans. After all, there were not many powerhouses, so it was easy to succeed. God Slayer said in a deep voice, "He doesn't attack the human clan now, but it doesn't mean that he won't attack them in the future. When that time comes, Sihahai's strength will definitely be stronger." "So what if he's stronger? Senior, do you think that my strength is inferior to his?" Qin Shujian asked in return. His face was full of confidence as he continued. "Moreover, if he attacks the human race, he might not necessarily be an enemy of our Yuan sect. If it really comes to that, I can suppress him. I don't think there's a need to think so much now. Let's wait until the future." What a joke. No matter how fast Sihahai's strength improved, could it be compared to him who had a cheat? If that was the case, Qin Shujian also had to consider whether he could not do it. Now, the comprehension of the rules. It had allowed him to truly possess strength that was not inferior to that of a ruler. If it was the Earth Spirit Emperor standing here, Qin Shujian felt that he did not even need to escape and could fight the other party head-on. This was strength. In the past, the biggest gap between him and the emperors was the use of the rules. Once the other party opened his domain, the power of the rules that he borrowed would all dissipate. If it did not retreat, then there would be a fight. However, this was only Qin Shujian's own guess. Before they really fought, he did not dare to be too sure. "Ancient Buddha Emperor!" Qin Shujian's mouth curled into a cold smile. He did not forget. The ancient Buddha Emperor's shadow in the long river of rules. Both sides. Sooner or later there would be a battle. If possible, Qin Shujian would be more willing to kill the ancient Buddha Emperor one step ahead of time to reduce the obstacles in his path. He also believed that the ancient Buddha Emperor probably had the same idea. Then, Qin Shujian did not think about these things anymore. He directly set off for Liangshan City and found Su Zhan, who was staying in the inn. "I've made some progress in my cultivation, which caused a delay. I hope Pavilion Elder Su won't take offense," Qin Shujian said with a smile. Hearing this, Su Zhan could not help but complain in his heart. What did he mean by making some progress in his cultivation? Could it be that his progress was not fast enough? Complaining was just complaining. Su Zhan also felt relieved. Anyway, the gap between them was so big. It seemed that whether Qin Shujian became stronger or not, it did not have much to do with him. "So," Su Zhan said with a faint smile, "Sect Master Qin is too serious. Now that Sect Master Qin is done, let's set off together." "Okay, let's go." Qin Shujian nodded. Soon, the two of them left the inn and walked towards the teleportation gate. Baiyun Prefecture was quite far from Thousand Mountains Prefecture. If they were to rely on themselves, it would not be more comfortable than using the portal. Not long after, the two had already appeared in Thousand Mountains Prefecture. After entering Thousand Mountains Prefecture, Su Zhan decided not to use the teleportation gate. He took Qin Shujian with him and flew toward the destination. In less than half an hour, Qin Shujian felt a suppressive force descending upon him all of a sudden. That was the law. The suppressive force of the region is the force of the law. It is no wonder that even a heavenly being can't unleash strength beyond the limit of the law. Once they do, the heavenly tribulation will descend. As his understanding of the law deepened, Qin Shujian understood it better. If one wanted to unleash their full strength in the true dominion ordinary realm without worrying about the punishment of the law, a cultivator had to reach the perfected immortal realm. Just as Godslayer had said, one had to be a law of the same kind to be able to go against it. Similarly, one had to be in existence of the same level to be able to transcend the restrictions of a law. The reason why an Almighty could unleash more strength than others in the true dominion ordinary realm and condense the universe heavenly lock, it was because the Almighty had a deep understanding of the law. This kind of understanding, it could allow an Almighty to release a trace of weak strength. At this moment, an even more powerful suppressive force came crashing down from the sky. At this moment, Qin Shujian understood that he had already entered the ordinary realm. In the ordinary realm, Qin Shujian also sensed the existence of several tyrannical auras. He couldn't help but frown and say, "The birth of heaven and earth should have some fluctuations. Why don't I feel anything at all? Pavilion Elder Su, are you sure that a new region will be born here?" His gaze towards Su Zhan was already filled with suspicion. Was he trying to fool him? In the face of Qin Shujian's doubts, Su Zhan smiled and said, "Don't worry, Sect Master Qin. I would never lie to you. Since I dared to call you here, I can be sure that a new region will be born here." Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian could only suppress the doubts in his heart. Soon, the two of them appeared in front of the heaven and earth barrier. The seven-colored light turned into a barrier that seemed to completely separate heaven and earth. Over here, Qin Shujian also saw the two of them. One of them was Marquis Qianshan, Gu Changqing, and the other was Marquis Yunyang. Upon seeing Qin Shujian and Su Zhan arrive, both of them looked at Qin Shujian and then cupped their hands and said, "Greetings, Sect Master Qin! You two are too polite." Qin Shujian also cupped his hands slightly in return. At this moment, he also understood the importance that the human emperor attached to the new region this time. Among the people present, other than Marquis Yunyang who was at the peak of the Saint Realm, the other three were all powerful experts. Well, Qin Shujian very consciously categorized himself as one of the powerful beings. Speaking of which, it was a bit of an understatement to call his strength a powerful expert. He was still considered the strongest expert of his clan. Thinking of the last time the region was born, there were only a few heavenly beings. If it was a powerful expert, there was only Marquis Baiyun. Now in the face of the region's birth, there were three powerful experts at the same time. "Marquis Qianshan, long time no see." Qin Shujian looked at Gu Changqing and said with a smile. Gu Changqing's face stiffened slightly, then he smiled and said, "Sect Master Qin, you must be joking. Didn't you and I just meet a few days ago? Haha, maybe I forgot. I can't help it. Some things have happened too long ago, so I will eventually forget. But there are some things that I will still remember," Qin Shujian said meaningfully. To this, Gu Changqing felt helpless in his heart. He didn't expect Qin Shujian to be so vengeful. And he didn't expect the former sect master of a small sect had grown to a level that even he had to look up to. To his decision back then, Gu Changqing could only grit his teeth and swallow it now. Who asked him to be unlucky? He had chosen a person who was not to be trifled with. Seeing Gu Changqing's awkward expression, Qin Shujian didn't say anything more. After all, they were all from the human race now. It was not good to embarrass them too much. Besides, last time, Gu Changqing gave him Shenhong's storage ring, which was considered as making up for it. However, it wasn't that easy for Qin Shujian to completely let go of this matter. At this moment, he looked at the heaven and earth barrier, then turned to Su Zhan and said, "Elder Su Zhan, there shouldn't be a region born here. With my eyesight, if there was a region born, how could I not see it?" "Sect Master Qin, don't worry," Su Zhan said with a smile. "P.S. I'm a little busy today, so I don't have much time to write. Give me the first update first. I'm writing the rest." Chapter 593. The four of them stood in front of the heaven and earth boundary. Qin Shujian didn't do anything. He was waiting for Su Zhan's answer. As for Su Zhan and the other two, they looked at each other. Then, the three of them took out 200 spirit stones. A rich spirit chi of heaven and earth was immediately induced from the spirit stones. Seeing this, Qin Shujian raised his eyebrows slightly. He already had an idea in his mind. As expected, after taking out the spirit stones, Su Zhan and the other two used their vital essence to crush the spirit stones. An extremely rich spirit chi mass was sealed by their vital essence, and immediately sent into the heaven and earth boundary. Boom! The vast spirit chi converged inside, and the seven-colored light shook violently. Under the impact of the spirit chi, behind the seven-colored light, endless chaos was surging. After being stimulated by the spirit chi, the earth boundary that was slowly growing increased countless times. Suddenly, a strange wave emerged. The four of them all stepped back at the same time. Su Zhan said, "The speed of the earth boundary's growth depends on the density of the spirit chi. It's very simple to stimulate the growth of the earth boundary by consuming a large amount of spirit chi and pushing the process forward. In this way, there's a chance to successfully grow the earth boundary in a short period of time." "I see. The imperial court is really rich and powerful," Qin Shujian said with emotion. He had already guessed this fact. However, Qin Shujian was still envious of the fact that 600 spirit stones were used up so easily. Evil rich people. If it were him, he definitely wouldn't be willing to waste it like this. 600 spirit stones. How many resources would that require? The benefits of the earth boundary's growth were at most a few born innate spiritual objects. However, the number of innate spiritual objects was unknown. Some earth boundaries had a lot of innate spiritual objects. However, some new earth boundaries had very few innate spiritual objects. It was completely a gamble. Not to mention, the earth boundary's growth would be accompanied by the birth of demons. If it was an ordinary demon, the imperial court could suppress it with its strength. However, if it encountered a powerful demon god, the loss would outweigh the gain. After all, such demons? How could it be so easy to suppress it? If one thing went wrong, there might be a heavenly beings who died. Moreover, there was the risk of not being able to suppress the evil spirit. If the evil demon really escaped and created a devil disaster, then the number of people who would die would not be just one or two. Therefore, even if they had mastered the method, the imperial court would rarely activate the regional derivation. Not to mention, the evolution of the earth domain was, in fact, moving closer to the devil abyss. To a certain extent, this was equivalent to shortening the time of the great calamity. The human sovereign values the monuments of the human race very much. Could it be that he wants to imitate the heavenly court and create a supreme treasure to suppress the world? As Qin Shujian looked at the surging chaos before him, some thoughts arose in his mind. He clearly knew that the appearance of any new region would shorten the time of the great calamity. But even so, the human emperor still did it. From this, it could be seen, the human race's monument might be more important than shortening the time of the Great Tribulation. Regarding this, Qin Shujian couldn't help but wonder. Had the human emperor already planned to build a monument for the human race? However, he did not care too much about the human emperor's scheme. In any case, no matter what the other party planned, they would not be able to plot against him. As long as one's strength was sufficient. Any calamity could be solved. Qin Shijian would not trust anyone. He only believed in his own fist. At this moment, the chaos was boiling violently, and the colorful light was also dazzling. However, after half a day, there was still no sign of the regional derivation. Seeing this, Su Zhan's expression did not change. He took out hundreds of spirit stones, crushed them, and injected pure spirit energy into it. Boom! A large amount of spirit energy poured in, causing the derivation to speed up again. In the next 3 days, Su Zhan had invested spirit stones 6 times, and each time, there were 400 to 500 spirit stones. In addition to the first investment, Qin Shijian did a rough calculation. The other party had consumed a total of nearly 4,000 spirit stones. Seeing this, he was too lazy to complain. He could only curse in his heart. 4,000 spirit stones. This was 4,000 spirit stones. If all of them were given to him for cultivation, Qin Shijian was confident that his strength would increase a lot in the case of breaking 4,000 spirit stones. However, looking at Su Zhan's calm face, Qin Shijian understood a truth. If it was not his own money, he would not feel the pinch. Looking at Su Zhan, who had thrown in almost 4,000 spirit stones, he knew it without even batting an eyelid. Qin Shijian could only admire the imperial court's wealth. Now, he finally knew the answer. How difficult it was to induce the regional derivation. This investment alone was enough to make all the sects flinch. If he wanted to gather so many spirit stones, he would have to pay the price. He was afraid that even if all the top sects in the cultivation world combined, they might not be able to do so. After investing a large amount of spirit stones, the derivation of the new regional derivation finally reached a limit. Bang! The colorful light shattered. In an instant, earth, water, fire, and wind emerged. A scene like the beginning of heaven and earth appeared in front of people. Even if it was not the first time he saw such a scene, but when he saw it again, he was stunned. Qin Shijian was still very emotional. The regional derivation. It was no less than the creation of heaven and earth. Although this heaven and earth was very small, so small that it was only about 1,000 miles. But no matter how small it was, the moment it was born, it was also addictive. At this moment, along with the appearance of the regional derivation, the mother stream of law was looming in it. When the regional derivation last time, the mother stream of law should have appeared too. But because he was not strong enough, Qin Shijian did not notice too much. But this time was different. As soon as the mother stream of law appeared, his attention fell on it. However, the mother stream of law appeared quickly and disappeared just as quickly. It was also at this moment, the sky collapsed. Endless demonic aura surged out from it, and an evil demon with a body of thousands of feet tore through the void and came out. As soon as the evil demon appeared, monstrous demonic aura swept across heaven and earth. "Let me deal with him!" Gu Changqing looked at the evil demon that was born, took a step into the air, and pressed down on the evil demon with his palm. He felt a great threat. The evil demon let out a roar and did not retreat at all. It also charged towards Gu Changqing. Both sides, in an instant, they engaged in battle. When Qin Shijian looked at it with his Dharma eyes, the evil demon's attributes also appeared in his eyes. 6th level of the celestial being! The evil demon that appeared the fastest. It could be the strongest, or it could be the weakest. However, judging from the current situation, the appearance of a 6th level heaven human stage evil spirit still made him feel a little grim. The aura of the demon abyss is getting stronger. Kid, be careful. If I'm not wrong, there must be a demon god taking this opportunity to come out of the demon abyss. In his sea of consciousness, God Slayer warned. Hearing that, Qin Shijian nodded silently. He still believed in God Slayer's words. In fact, even without God Slayer's warning, Qin Shijian could feel that the vast demonic aura had not completely calmed down. Bang! The space shattered, and a giant foot stepped out from it, followed by a terrifying evil demon. As soon as the evil demon appeared, the terrifying aura was vast and mighty. On the other side, the evil demon that appeared first was now being beaten back by Gu Changqing. Although the 6th level of the celestial being was strong, it was still much weaker in front of the 7th level of the celestial being. In just a moment, there was a risk of being suppressed. This was also the reason why Gu Changqing would directly attack and not let Marquis Yunyang do it. What he wanted to do, when the second evil devil appeared, the first evil devil would be suppressed. As for Su Zhan and the others, they would hold the line to prevent unexpected situations from happening. However, seeing the new evil demon appear, Gu Changqing sighed in his heart and then shouted, "Marquis Yunyang, please help us!" After that, he directly ignored the evil devils that were fighting and charged towards the newly appeared evil devils. Marquis Yunyang was already prepared. When Gu Changqing stopped, he took a step forward and intercepted the 6th level celestial being demon's attack. "Marquis Yunyang of the Great Zhao is here! Evil demon, surrender!" Marquis Yunyang blasted out a palm, causing the evil demon to take a few steps back and let out a violent roar. "Human, you're courting death!" As a 6th level evil demon, it had a great status in the demon abyss when the demon gods did not appear. Now that Marquis Yunyang said such words, naturally, it was infuriated. It had already suffered a lot in the hands of Gu Changqing. Now that it saw Marquis Yunyang's arrogant attitude, a strong murderous intent rose from the bottom of its heart. Name, Demon Green Goblin Realm, 7th level of the celestial being. His eyes turned into stars. Qin Shujian saw through the attribute of the last evil demon that appeared. "Demon Green Goblin!" Qin Shujian looked solemn. The second heretical fiend that appeared was already a 7th firmament fiend celestial. He saw that the demonic aura behind the space was not completely extinguished. In other words, this demon god that had appeared might not be the last evil demon. On the side of the demon abyss, there was an evil demon and a demon god. On the side of the human clan, there was Gu Changqing and Marquis Yunyang. The two sides fought fiercely. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. However, neither Qin Shujian nor Su Zhan moved. They just watched the scene in front of them quietly. "Sect Master Qin, if more demon gods appear later, I will intercept them first. When I am sure that there are no more demon gods, Sect Master Qin will take action to suppress these evil demons. Otherwise, if you and I both take action, another demon god will be born and we will be caught off guard." Su Zhan glanced at the battle and then turned his head to say, "Now, not all the evil demons were born. They had to leave someone behind to hold the line. After all, demons were not without intelligence. It was possible that there were demons spying on them in the dark, waiting for them to be distracted so that they could suddenly appear and kill them without warning." Su Zhan and Qin Shujian had not taken action so far because of this concern. Compared to Qin Shujian, Su Zhan thought that his strength was weaker. Therefore, he left the trump card to Qin Shujian. Hearing that, Qin Shujian nodded slightly and said, "Elder Su, don't worry. If another demon god is born, just take action. I will protect you." With his current strength, as long as it was not a demon god of the true immortal level, he had the confidence to fight against it. As for demon gods below the nirvana level, he could kill them. After getting Qin Shujian's promise, Su Zhan also felt relieved. Now that the human emperor was injured and was recuperating, it was inconvenient for him to take action personally. The strongest person of the human clan. It was Qin Shujian. Su Zhan still had a lot of confidence in him. As expected, in less than half an hour, the space shattered again, and a powerful demon god emerged from it. Qin Shujian immediately looked over with his Dharma eyes. The demon god's attributes also appeared in his sight. Name, Heaven Slaughter Demon God Realm, 8th level of the Heaven Human Realm. The moment the demon god appeared, Su Zhan had already taken action and intercepted the demon god. Even a demon god of the 8th level of the Heaven Human Realm has appeared. Senior, do you think a demon god of the true immortal level will descend? Qin Shujian asked in a deep voice. So far, there was a total of a 6th level demon god of the Heaven Human Realm, a 7th level demon god, and an 8th level demon god. To be honest, 2 powerful demon gods had already emerged from the evolution of a new Earth domain. This in itself was inconceivable. In other words, if he did not come this time, Sujan and the others might have gone overboard. Godslayer said, "No, the power of a demon god of the true immortal level is too strong. Only when the fiend abyss collides with heaven and earth will a demon god of this level be released. Otherwise, the strongest that can step into heaven and earth is only a 10th level demon god of the heaven-human realm." After saying that, Godslayer sensed carefully and said, "Moreover, there's still some distance from the fiend abyss. Even a 10th level demon god of the heaven-human realm is unlikely to appear. In my opinion, the demon god that can appear is at most a 9th level demon god of the heaven-human realm." Hearing that, Qin Shujian immediately calmed down. The strongest demon god that could appear was a 9th level demon god of the heaven-human realm. Then the problem was not big. Boom! Boom! The battle was intense. The appearance of the 3rd demon god raised the intensity of the battle to the peak. Sujan did not expect it either. The last demon god that appeared would be an 8th level demon god of the heaven-human realm. Not long after the battle, his expression changed. But the good thing was, as an elder of the Imperial Astronomer, his foundation was not weak at all. Even if he faced a demon god of a higher realm than him, he could still remain undefeated. Of course, this invincibility was only temporary. With Sujan's strength, it was almost impossible for him to defeat the demon god of heaven's slaughter. However, Sujan was not too worried, because the humans still had their biggest trump card. Based on the current battle situation, although the demons that appeared were powerful, they could not do anything to them. When Qin Shujian made his move, all the problems would naturally be solved. Boom! Demon god Qin Yao opened his mouth and spat out demon qi. The demon qi that was thousands of feet long turned into a long snake and swallowed Gu Changqing. Bang! The sound of metal colliding resounded through heaven and earth. A cold light tore through the void. The demon qi snake was immediately destroyed. Gu Changqing held a sword in one hand and released a biting cold murderous intent, which made demon god Qin Yao's expression change slightly. In the distance, Qin Shujian also looked at Gu Changqing and demon god Qin Yao. There were a total of 3 battlefields in the new area. Marquis Yinyang's battle range was only at the saint level, so it did not attract much attention. As for Sujan's side, facing the demon god of heaven's slaughter who was at the 8th level of the celestial being realm, he focused on defense. There was nothing to see. Only Gu Changqing's strength was comparable to demon god Qin Yao's. The battle between the two. That was what was truly captivating. Qin Shujian had long known about Gu Changqing's strength. The fact that the other party was able to withstand the siege of 2 powerful figures of the demon clan in the war where the various clans besieged the human clan showed how strong his strength was. Although he was at the 7th level of the celestial being realm, in Qin Shujian's opinion, he was actually not much weaker than the 8th level of the celestial being realm. Not long after the battle, demonic god Qin Yao was already suppressed. At this moment, the demon qi behind the space was still surging. Qin Shujian removed the blood of 1,000 mountains from his back. For this Dao artifact, he had personally forged a matching scabbard. A green scabbard! A green scabbard! Qin Shujian was like an ordinary swordsman. He held the scabbard and stood still on the spot. Crack! The space shattered. A terrifying figure stepped out from within. At the same time, another figure smashed through the void and arrived. The appearance of the 2 10,000-foot-tall figures filled the air with demon qi. At this moment, on the human side, Gu Changqing and the others' expressions changed. Only Qin Shujian looked indifferent. He stared at the 2 demon gods, his eyes turning into stars. Name: Blood Fiend Demon God Realm, 9th level of the Celestial Being Realm. Name: 9 Soldiers Demon God Realm, 9th level of the Celestial Being Realm. Just as Godslayer said, the demon gods that could appear were at the 9th level of the Celestial Being Realm at most. However, the demon gods that appeared were indeed at the 9th level of the celestial being realm. But God Slayer did not say so. 2 demon gods at the 9th level of the celestial being realm would appear at the same time. Qin Shujian held the scabbard and pressed his thumb against the scabbard. Then, he pushed forward forcefully, revealing more than an inch of the blade. Whoosh, endless blade she shot out from it, drawing a black line across the void. Then, it attacked the Blood Fiend Demon God. Blood Fiend Demon God, who had just appeared, suddenly felt a terrifying warning in his heart. There was no hesitation. He condensed a powerful demonic aura, which transformed into a terrifying punch, and blasted out. Boom! The void shattered. Saber-Chi blasted in and turned it into a void turbulence. On the spot, Qin Shujian took a step forward and performed lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. When he took a second step, the rules of strength descended. When he took a third step, he unsheathed his scabbard. The cold saber light cut through the world. Endless sharpness shot out in an instant, causing everyone to feel a sharp pain on their skin. Roar! 9 soldiers demon god roared. Terrifying demon chi condensed on his body as if to block the saber light. The next second, the long saber slashed down, and the demon chi dispersed. Just as 9 soldiers demon god was about to dodge, the spirit god was hit by a powerful attack. His body became sluggish. Then, 1,000 mountain blood slashed down. Half of 9 soldiers demon god's body fell. The excruciating pain caused his face to contort. Moreover, Qin Shujian had already held back. Otherwise, this slash would have been enough to kill the 9 soldiers demon god. After severely injuring him, Qin Shujian threw out the red lotus of purgation and devoured the demon god who had lost his ability to resist. Then, he turned his attention to Blood Fiend Demon God. He licked his dry lips and smiled. It's your turn! Who exactly are you? Blood Fiend Demon God was about to go crazy. He looked at Qin Shujian with horror in his eyes. As for the arrogance he had when he walked out of the demon abyss, it had completely disappeared. 1 slash. Just 1 slash. 9 soldiers demon god, whose strength was similar to his, was severely injured and on the verge of death. Now, he was being devoured by a strange flame and was suffering in agony. Such terrifying strength. Blood Fiend Demon God felt that he was facing an expert of the true immortal level. It was an unbridgeable gap. Even the dignified Demon God could not help but panic. As for Su Zhan and the rest, although they were shocked, they were still able to get used to it. In the great battle back then, Qin Shujian had killed almighties as if they were dogs. Although it was not as terrifying as killing 9 soldiers demon god in an instant, it was still acceptable. As for the demons and demon gods who were fighting against the 3 of them, they could not help but panic after seeing that. They wanted to get rid of their opponents and escape. To that, the 3 of them were already prepared. They unleashed all their strength and tried their best to hold back the 3 demons and demon gods so that they would not have a chance to escape. On the other side, Qin Shujian did not waste any time. Facing the panicking blood fiend demon god, his murderous intent soared. Any evil fiend or fiend celestial. They represented a large amount of luck points, source of life, and abundant energy. They were walking treasures. How could Qin Shujian allow them to escape? He took a step forward. 1,000 mountain blood slashed down. 10,000 feet long blade aura shattered heaven and earth. This slash. Just like the previous slash, Qin Shujian did not hold back at all. He unleashed all the strength that he could unleash at that moment to the maximum. What was the combat strength of this saber? Qin Shujian himself could not be sure. Facing such an attack, the blood fiend demon god was filled with fear. Without thinking, he wanted to tear open the void and escape. However, he escaped very quickly. Qin Shujian's slash was even faster. Coupled with his spirit-severing stage, the blood fiend demon god's body stiffened, and he followed in the footsteps of 9 soldiers demon god. At that moment, The heaven slaughter demon god broke free from Su Zhan's hold and escaped through the void. Sect Master Qin, stop him! Su Zhan's expression changed drastically. If a demon god escaped, more than half of Thousand Mountains Prefecture would fall. He wanted to hold back the heaven slaughter demon god. However, the other party was much stronger than him. If he wanted to escape, it would be difficult to hold him back for too long. He can't escape. Qin Shijian's eyes were cold. He spread out his divine thought, and it turned into a huge formation. In the next instant, the formation shattered. The heaven slaughter demon god had just broken out of the formation when he saw a terrifying saber light slashing at him. There were no surprises. The heaven slaughter demon god was severely injured and fell to the ground. He was on the verge of death. The red lotus of purgation was left behind. Qin Shijian allowed the red lotus to slowly refine the demon god while he raised his saber and charged at demon god Green Goblin. A demon god in the 8th or 9th level of the celestial being realm was no match for him. What kind of resistance could a demon god in the 7th level of the celestial being realm have? There were no surprises. Demon god Green Goblin followed in the footsteps of the other demon gods. As for the last demon god in the 6th level of the celestial being realm, there was no need to talk about it. From the moment Qin Shijian attacked, it took less than half an hour for the battle to end. Gu Chongqing and the others watched in a daze as the demon gods were being refined and wailing in agony. For a moment, they fell silent. Chapter 594. The source of life was fine. However, each evil spirit was equivalent to a large amount of luck points. 5 demons. That was 500 luck points. How could Qin Shijian let go of this opportunity? One had to know. There were not many demons left in the East Continent. Qin Shijian was not sure about the other prefectures, but he knew that there were no more demons in Baiyun Prefecture. Such a scarce resource. How could he waste it? With a wave of his hand, 5 red lotuses floated over. Qin Shijian held the red lotuses and immediately absorbed all the energy inside. Rumble! There were 5 demons, and 2 of them were 9th level heaven human fiend gods. The surging energy was not little at all when stacked together. Qin Shijian was now like an endless black hole, devouring all the energy that could be devoured and then used it to strengthen himself. After a while, only then did Qin Shijian recover. Looking at the acupoints in his body that had expanded quite a bit, a faint smile appeared on his face. When he looked around, he saw that Yi Zichen's face was pale. He immediately found that Su Zhan and the others were also looking at him. He thought for a while. Qin Shijian understood what they were thinking, but he did not explain too much. He said with a faint smile, "The demons have been killed, and the earth domain has been born. There should be a Khanate spiritual item soon. This time, I hope to ask for a spiritual item. I wonder if Pavilion Elder Su can give it to me? Oh, a Khanate spiritual item? No problem, no problem. It's all thanks to Sect Master Qin's help that the Earth Domain was born this time. If you want to get the spiritual item, it's only right." Su Zhan was stunned at first, but he quickly reacted and hurriedly replied. He really could not think of any adjectives. Probably. It was just a coincidence that he turned the tide. To be honest, Su Zhan really did not expect Qin Shijian's strength to be so violent. How was he fighting demons? It was like fighting chickens. 1 slash, 1 kill. Clean and neat. Such a gap in strength had already made Su Zhan feel desperate. How could he compare? There was no comparison at all. In the human race, only the human emperor could firmly suppress the other party. However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, another question appeared in Su Zhan's mind. Is His Majesty really a match for Qin Shijian? The human emperor was very powerful. However, the other party's strength was only shown when he fought against the 4 emperors. However, only experts of the same level could understand how dangerous a battle of that level was. For ordinary people, Qin Shijian killed an evil demon with a single slash, which was even more shocking. As for Gu Chongqing and Marquis Yin Yang, they both fell silent. The difference in strength was too great. Originally, they still had some doubts about the strength of Qin Shujian, who was the second most powerful person of the human race, but now, this doubt had completely disappeared. That's right. Second in the human race. This was the second strongest human. Killing fiend celestials was as easy as killing chickens. It was as powerful as thunder. It was a one-hit kill. Gu Chongqing's mouth twitched as he thought about it. He was thinking, if Qin Shujian really wanted to keep the matter of his assassination in mind, how should he deal with it? Even if he hid in the Marquis of Qianshan's mansion, it would be useless. The only safe place now. Probably only the Imperial Palace. It's going to bleed again. Gu Chongqing sighed in his heart. He finally understood. People like Qin Shujian either didn't offend him, or offended him to death. However, with the other party's strength, if he wanted to kill him, it would be more convenient to slit his own throat. So, Gu Chongqing had already thought of a way to resolve this grudge. Qin Shujian sensed the state of the newborn area and said, "There should be a connate spiritual object born in a few days. It's still early. There's no need for us to waste our time here. Let's settle down in a nearby city first," Su Zhan said. Hearing this, the others didn't object. After all, if they could live peacefully, who would be so cheap as to stand here and do nothing? The city that Su Zhan had mentioned was the city in the ordinary realm. When the region was born, as Marquis of Qianshan, Gu Chongqing had already informed all the leaders of the forces in the ordinary realm. Because of this, when the region was born, no one would come to disturb it. After arranging accommodation in the city lord's mansion, Qin Shujian originally planned to cultivate in the bedroom. He wanted to circulate the evil energy that he absorbed during the day a few more times to refine it more thoroughly. In the sea of consciousness, Godslayer's voice sounded. "Boy, did you completely kill the 5 evil spirits during the day?" His voice was 70% solemn, but it was also 30% trembling with excitement. Others couldn't tell if the evil spirits had really died. How could Godslayer not see it? In his era, countless evil spirits had died in the hands of Shi Dao. To be honest, the number of evil spirits he killed was much more than the number of creatures he had killed in his life. Because Zhu Bing was the foundation of the clan, they would only use Zhu Bing to kill the enemy when they encountered a great enemy. So, oftentimes, ancestral armaments served as a deterrent. There were not many opportunities for them to actually attack. However, when the evil demons appeared, human true immortals would be able to kill countless evil demons with their ancestral armaments. In Godslayer's view, the 5 evil spirits were really dead. As for the Red Lotus of Purgation, he didn't care too much about it. But now, he had to ask. Hearing this, Qin Shujian didn't mean to hide it. He nodded and said, "Yes, those evil spirits have all died. They won't be resurrected from the demon abyss." Starting from when he used the Red Lotus of Purgation, he knew that this secret couldn't be hidden. If it was in the past, Qin Shujian didn't dare to expose this secret because he wasn't strong enough. Once the secret was exposed, there might be accidents. But it was different now. The second strongest of the human clan was not just a title. With his own strength, Qin Shujian didn't have the confidence to defeat the human emperor, but the human emperor couldn't do anything to him. This was confidence. With such strength, there was no need to hide many things. So Qin Shujian used it openly, and didn't waste any chance to improve his strength. As long as he swallowed more, the more acupoints he expanded, the more. When that time came, his strength would naturally be stronger. Just as Godslayer said, the heavenly court was so strong, but it was destroyed by the demon abyss. If he wanted to defeat the demon abyss, he had to become stronger than the heavenly court. With the current situation of the human clan, cultivating more true immortals was obviously not a reliable thing. In Qin Shujian's view, there was no way to surpass the heavenly court in group strength, so he had to break through from individual strength. When he grew to the point where he could hang up the entire heavenly court and beat them, he would probably be able to fight against the demon abyss. The realm of an ancient true immortal was not enough. Then he had to surpass the true immortal realm. Qin Shujian believed that the true immortal was definitely not the end. The Emperor of Heaven might be an expert above the true immortal realm, or he might not be. But no matter what he had to do now was to improve his strength as much as possible. As long as his strength increased, then everything would be fine. As for the secret, that was a small problem. Even if some people knew that the human emperor had the treasures of the ancient heavenly court, then who would dare to have any bad thoughts? It wasn't just the human emperor. To be able to become the emperor of a clan, who didn't have a fortuitous opportunity? But it was the same. No one would investigate the secrets of these emperors. Because the emperors were too strong. Even if they were the emperors of small clans, a big clan like the Demon Clan didn't want to offend them easily. After all, it wasn't easy to kill such an expert. If they offended him because of this, it would be a big problem for the Demon Clan. The so-called secret. They were afraid that it wouldn't be able to make up for this price. In ancient times, there were some supreme treasures in the world that could kill evil spirits. But strictly speaking, the supreme treasures that could kill evil spirits all contained the power of faith. They could be considered as Zhu Bing in disguise. But as the war began, those supreme treasures were destroyed by the evil spirits, leaving only Zhu Bing. I thought that only ancestral armaments would be able to kill the evil demons. Never would I have imagined that there would be such a strange flame capable of completely killing the evil demons that were known to be undying and indestructible. Godslayer's tone was as if he was taking a deep breath. After a long time. Then he said again, "I don't know how your flame came about, but I just want to ask, is such a flame your personal opportunity, or can it be obtained through cultivation? If it can be obtained through cultivation, boy, in the future great calamity of the demonic abyss, our chances of winning will be higher than in ancient times." Finally, Godslayer was already unable to suppress his excitement. The evil spirits were very strong, but where were they strong? They were strong in their immortality. If they didn't have the trait of being immortal and indestructible, then the strength of the ancient myriad races, even if not as strong as the demonic abyss, would definitely not be much weaker. Even if Godslayer didn't participate in the war to the end, he could guess. The defeat of the heavenly court. The defeat of the myriad races. It was definitely destroyed by the advantage of the evil spirit's continuous resurrection. If they didn't have this advantage, how could the demonic abyss destroy the heavenly court? When the demonic abyss first appeared, it was still suppressed by the myriad races of the heavenly court. It wasn't until the evil spirits that were killed continuously walked out of the demonic abyss that the heavenly court and the myriad races completely collapsed. So, if only Qin Shujian could have this flame, then he would be the biggest variable in the future fight against the demonic abyss. But if this ability could be inherited, that was a different concept. Qin Shujian was silent for a moment and said, "The red lotus of purgation can be obtained through cultivation. I have also secretly cultivated a number of cultivators who cultivate the red lotus of purgation. But there is one thing that seniors should understand. The red lotus of purgation is very important. This ability is even my true foundation. If the situation is not completely beneficial to me, I will not disclose the cultivation method of the red lotus of purgation to the public. Sacrificing oneself for others is something that only a hero would do. But I, Qin Shujian, am not a hero. I fought against the various races only because I am a human. But if the human race betrayed me, I will also fight against the human race." He knew what Godslayer wanted to say. So, Qin Shujian immediately blocked the other party's words. The red lotus of purgation was his foundation. It was almost impossible for him to teach it to others, unless it was beneficial to him. But what was beneficial to him? That was up to the benevolent and the wise. Hearing this, Godslayer did not immediately reply. After a long while he said, Your opportunity is naturally yours to distribute. I have no intention of interfering with your idea. Since you should have a plan, that is enough. Is there any limit or upper limit to this ability of yours to kill demons? God's Slayer did not care whether Qin Shijian taught it to others or not. He only cared about what were the shortcomings and side effects of the Red Lotus of Purgation. If it was really like Zhu Bing, who had to go through tribulation after killing some demons, this ability would be a bit useless. Limit? Upper limit? Qin Shijian thought for a moment. After he got this ability, he was very happy to devour it. Then he shook his head and said, I didn't find any limit or upper limit. Anyway, from the beginning until now, hundreds of demons have died in my hands, but there have been no major problems. Hearing this, God's Slayer instantly lost the idea of talking. Killed hundreds of demons. If Zhu Bing killed so many demons, he would probably have to go through tribulation once or twice. Of course, these Zhu Bing who went through tribulation referred to those who went through 1 or 2 tribulations of Zhu Bing. The more time passed. Every time Zhu Bing went through tribulation, the more energy he needed. It was just that the tribulation was extremely dangerous. A 4-tribulation ancestral armament like the God-slaying saber was extremely rare in the ancient era. Finally, God's Slayer took a deep breath and said, Live well. As long as you can live until the demon abyss arrives, you will be the greatest hero of the human race. He had no more requirements for Qin Shijian. As long as he could live well, the rest was not important. With his potential and the speed of his strength improvement, as long as he lived for hundreds of years, he would be an ancient true immortal. At that time, with the help of the Red Lotus of Purgation, fighting demons would be as easy as eating and drinking water. But this also had to take into account the number of demons and the demon abyss. Whether there were more powerful demons. But no matter what, God's Slayer finally saw a glimmer of hope. Those who had not experienced the great tribulation of the demon abyss could not imagine how terrifying the great tribulation of the demon abyss was. Even if the human emperor was suppressing the world now, and the human race was showing signs of resurrection. But he was still not optimistic about the human race. Because the human race was too weak now, and could not be compared to the ancient times. And the thousands of races had died, and the remaining races had all declined to the extreme. Just like that. Everyone still had to fight against each other. To be honest, if the demon abyss really came, with such strength, they would not even be able to resist and would directly collapse. After staying in the city for a few days, the city lord of the ordinary realm had been conscientious in his work these days, and did not dare to make the slightest mistake. The 2 dukes and the imperial astronomer lived here. Anyone would feel a great deal of pressure. A city lord of the ordinary realm, although he also had a lot of authority, but in front of these people, he was like an ant that could be wiped away with a wave of their hand. If the other party was not happy with him, the city lord position would be gone just like that, and they could even find a reason to behead him. Therefore, the city lord of the ordinary realm had not been able to sleep or eat well these days. 5 days later, the spirit chi in the new area soared into the sky. Qin Shijian and the other 3 left. Immediately, the city lord of the ordinary realm heaved a sigh of relief, and then wiped the invisible sweat on his forehead, and then shouted at the servants. Hurry up and bring all the delicious food, this lord is hungry now. On the other side, the 4 of them had already arrived in the new area in the blink of an eye. Sujan said, I asked Sect Master Qin to set up a protective array to prevent unrelated people from entering here without permission. It's a small matter. Qin Shijian sensed for a moment, and then smiled slightly. The moment his spiritual will spread out, a vast array covered the entire new area. Immediately, some people who saw the spirit chi soar into the sky and wanted to sneak into the new area felt the world spinning, and in the next moment, they reappeared outside. What's going on? What happened? Why did I suddenly come out? Everyone was stunned, looking at the surrounding scene, for a moment a little stunned. But very quickly, Some people tried to walk towards the new area, but after taking 2 steps, they automatically retreated. Those with foresight immediately shouted, "Array, there's an expert who set up an array here, so we can't get in." An expert set up an array. Many people looked dejected when they heard this. Obviously, there were experts who wanted to monopolize the new area, not giving them a chance to drink soup at all. However, no one scolded. Because everyone knew that the people who opened the new area were from the imperial court, and it was said that Marquis Qian Shan Gu Changqing had come. Under such circumstances, scolding people felt good for a moment, but if word got out, then the whole family would be cremated. After setting up the array, Qin Shujian smiled faintly and said, "Okay, it's quiet now, there aren't so many people disturbing us. Sect Master Qin's method of setting up arrays is amazing, it's admirable," Su Zhan said flatteringly. To this, Qin Shujian replied humbly, "It's SOSO, not comparable to a third realm array master." As soon as this sentence came out, the others fell silent again. A third realm array master. That had been extinct for many years. Qin Shujian said, "There are a total of 6 connate spiritual objects that have been born. According to the original agreement, I will only take 1 connate spiritual object, and the rest will belong to the imperial court. Now that the connate spiritual object has been born, let's not waste time. I'll take my leave first. After I get the connate spiritual object, I have to rush back to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain to deal with some matters. Pavilion Elder Su can also bring the connate spiritual object to the Yuan sect to look for me." "Okay." Su Zhan nodded in response to Qin Shujian's instructions. He knew that Qin Shujian wanted the connate spiritual object because he wanted to forge a Dao artifact. Forge a Dao artifact. Connate embryos were needed. Therefore, Su Zhan could understand why Qin Shujian was in such a hurry. Then, Qin Shujian cupped his hands slightly, took a step forward, and disappeared in front of everyone. Only Su Zhan and the other 2 were left. Su Zhan said, "The birth of the connate spiritual object will take at most 15 days to completely turn from an connate embryo to an ordinary object. Let's not waste too much time. Each of us will go to a different place and get the connate spiritual object as soon as possible." "No problem. Everything will be as Pavilion Elder Su said." Gu Changqing and Marquis Yunyang nodded in response. The 3 of them immediately separated. At the mountainside of a 1,000-foot mountain, there was a connate spiritual object being born. Qin Shujian suddenly appeared and looked at the connate spiritual object in a daze. "Senior, do you know how connate spiritual objects are born?" "I do," Godslayer said. "Connate spiritual objects are born when the scattered precepts of heaven and earth mix with connate spirit chi during the birth of heaven and earth. If you want to obtain a connate spiritual item, you can say it's difficult, but you can also say it's not difficult. When you have the ability to grasp the natural order, and when you have the means to surpass a third realm array master, you can create connate spiritual items." Godslayer did not say much. There were ways to create connate spiritual objects in ancient times. Array Dao cultivation had reached the level of a saint. In fact, when an array was set up, it was like the beginning of heaven and earth. When that time came, there was naturally a chance to obtain connate spirit chi. Connate spirit chi supplemented by precepts of precepts was the origin of connate spiritual objects. Hearing this, Qin Shujian temporarily extinguished the plan in his heart. In his eyes there was still precepts of precepts left on the connate spiritual object. However, from Godslayer's words, Qin Shujian also knew that it was not easy to create a connate spiritual object, so he did not ask too much. He reached out his hand. A gust of gentle true essence plucked the connate spiritual object from the ground. When the connate spiritual object was plucked out, suddenly, a strong resistance arose, causing the entire connate spiritual object to tremble slightly. However, such resistance did not have any effect in front of Qin Shujian. True essence suppressed. The connate spiritual object suddenly became calm. After obtaining this connate spiritual object, Qin Shujian immediately put it in his storage ring. At this moment, in the newborn area, all the connate spiritual objects' auras had disappeared. There was no need to think. Qin Shujian also knew that Su Zhan and the others had taken away the remaining connate spiritual objects. He did not intend to meet up with Su Zhan and the others. The connate spiritual object was in his hands. He was about to go back to create the heaven list, so there was no need to stay for too long. Immediately, Qin Shujian rose into the air and turned into a stream of light to escape. It did not take too long. A city was already in sight. He entered the city with ease and entered the teleportation gate. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from the city. When he was passing through the portal, the power of space was raging, but it did not affect Qin Shujian's physical body at all. It took him less than 2 hours to do it. He had already appeared in Cold Mountain City. Is it possible for a Third Realm Array Grandmaster to open a space tunnel and travel through the distance? Qin Shujian suddenly had a strange idea. Godslayer said, "Yes, in fact, a Third Realm Array Grandmaster is close to evolving a small world. It is not a big problem for you to open a space tunnel. After all, the biggest problem with space transportation is whether it is stable or not. Even if you don't need Array Dao cultivation, as long as your strength can suppress the space tunnel, it will be enough." Qin Shujian thought of the true immortal's body in the void turbulence. "In Senior's opinion, when I go into the void turbulence again, will I have a chance to get that immortal's body?" That was the greatest treasure. Godslayer said, "It should still be a little short. It is best to wait until you reach the 7th level of the celestial being realm before you try." "All right." Qin Shujian nodded slightly. In just a moment he had returned to the Yuan sect. Chapter 595. It had been less than a day since Qin Shujian returned to the sect. The news of the heavenly list had already spread out. Now, all the branches had already established forging branches. The superior grade forging master would take the position of hall master. In addition to that, there were also many forging masters who wanted to join the Yuan sect. However, Qin Shujian didn't want everyone. He only let some of them who looked promising enter the sect and then gave them the position of guest elder. The number 1 forging master of the human clan. In the eyes of the other forging masters, this title was more resounding than the second strongest person of the human clan. For those who were in the path of forging, forging masters were only divided by their forging methods. Others, it had little to do with them. Now that Qin Shujian, the number 1 forging master of the human clan, was going to forge a divine weapon again, it naturally caused many forging masters of the branches to go crazy. In the main sect, Xin Yuqing also immediately found Qin Shujian. "Sect Master, I heard that you are going to forge the heavenly list. Is this true?" The forging hall master was also in high spirits now. At most, he was about 30 years old. Since he had become a forging master at this age, there was a high chance that he could become a grandmaster in the future. Such talent. It was enough to make people envious. In the Yuan sect, excluding Qin Shujian, Xin Yuqing was the most powerful forging master. Qin Shujian picked up the teacup, took a sip, and said with a faint smile, "Elder Yuqing also received the news? Such important news has already spread throughout the sect. If it weren't for the elders deliberately suppressing it, I'm afraid this news would have spread throughout the human clan," Xin Yuqing said with a smile. The current Qin Shujian was no longer the Qin Shujian of the past. With his current status, if he really wanted to forge a divine weapon, it would definitely attract people from all sides. Just like if the human emperor publicly preached the Tao, all the cultivators in the world would come to listen. It was the same principle. The last time Qin Shujian built Cold Mountain City, the cultivators who observed it gained a lot. In fact, Xin Yuqing also heard that a few forging masters had stepped into the master level from superior grade. This made people even crazier. Qin Shujian said, "This time, I will be creating the heaven list in the human clan's territory of the 3 continents. If anyone from the Sky Origin sect wants to observe, you can pay 20,000 contribution points. SSS sect leader, isn't 20,000 contribution points a little too high? Xinyu took a deep breath. 20,000 points. That was practically daylight robbery. In the past, the entrance fee was only 1 to 2,000 points, but now, it had increased tenfold. Qin Shujian glanced at him and said indifferently, "Go and ask the human sovereign if it is expensive to charge you a few million taels of silver for a public demonstration of Tao. Then, see how many people are willing to pay the money." 20,000 contribution points was the internal price of the sect. If outsiders want to observe, each of them will have to take out materials worth 10 million taels. 10 million taels of silver worth of materials. Xinyu took another deep breath. But on second thought, he realized that there was nothing wrong with this. It was a great opportunity to observe the number one artificer of the human race. If they were lucky and gained some insights during the observation process, they would not lose out. If they could break through, they would make a huge profit. Thinking about it this way, Xinyu was relieved. Anyway, he and the others had only paid 20,000 contribution points, which was only about 4 million taels of silver. On the other hand, it would cost 10 million taels of silver for outsiders. The difference was immediately apparent. Afterward, Xinyu said, "Sect leader, why do you want to create the heaven list in the territory of 100,000 kilometers? What if there are foreign experts who come to interfere? Won't the creation fail?" At this point, he suddenly thought of something and looked up at Qin Shujian. He said in a deep voice, "Sect leader, are you planning to show your strength and tempt the other races?" The Sky Origin sect offered a reward for information about the various races. Xinyu also knew about it. Now that the human clan had left the East continent, the situation in the three continents had become even more chaotic. The major continents had been in constant disputes. Now that the human clan had intervened, the situation was extremely chaotic. In this situation, the monster clan, the god clan, and the other races still wanted to reward the human clan. The human clan also wanted to reward them. In a short period of time, the various races suffered many casualties. However, overall, the human clan suffered the greatest loss. The races in the three continents were already somewhat repulsed by the human clan. Now, with the bounty offered by the various races, it was even more difficult for the human clan to leave the territory of 100,000 kilometers. Until now, Qin Shujian had not made much of a move on the monster clan's bounty, and no other race dared to claim the bounty without permission. It was very simple. Rumors were just rumors. No one who had not really seen Qin Shujian's forging skills would easily offend the monster clan. Even those races who did not get along with the monster clan and the god clan were the same. Hostile. It did not mean that they were going to war. If they were really going to war, the various races would not have maintained a delicate balance until now. Qin Shujian said, "Since they don't believe it, then let's show them." Moreover, the human clan's territory of 100,000 kilometers is not that simple. That is the foundation of the human clan's entry into the three continents. Unless the various races attack together, no one dares to act rashly. If any race could enter the human clan's territory, then there was no need for the human clan to set up a territory. Therefore, Qin Shujian was not worried about this at all. Besides, even if there were really experts attacking, he was not afraid. The Monster Emperor and the other supreme experts of the various races were still recuperating from their injuries. As for the experts below the Monster Emperor, Qin Shujian's current strength was naturally not weaker than these people. With this confidence, he did not have to worry too much. Hearing this, Xinyu also nodded in agreement. Then when does the sect master plan to take action? In another 2 days, there's no hurry. Qin Shujian shook his head and said lightly. After getting the answer, Xinyu also got up and left. In the courtyard, only Qin Shujian was left. After drinking the spirit tea in the cup in one gulp, he got up and walked into the bedroom. Not long after, he took out a stone tablet. a fragment of the myriad races immortal leaderboard. At this time, the rules in the stone tablet had dissipated, but as a fragment of the nine-sealed Dao artifact, there was still a terrifying power left. Qin Shujian felt, even if he smashed someone with the stone tablet with his bare hands, he could still smash some powerful figures to death. Senior, now that the list of immortals of the myriad races has been broken, does it still have the function of detecting battle strength? Looking at the stone tablet in front of him, Qin Shujian thought of the heavenly mirror. Everyone was in pieces. Even if the heavenly mirror was broken, it still had a lot of abilities. The myriad races immortals seemed to be more famous than the heavenly mirror. There was no reason that it was useless at all. The Godslayer said, "Of course it is useful. Although the list of immortals of the myriad races is broken and does not automatically record the experts of the myriad races in the world, it still has some functions. If you want to use it, just drip your blood in it. If you want the information of others, you can also drip a drop of blood in it. Although the rule power inside has dissipated, the ability of the Dao artifact itself has not completely disappeared." Hearing this, Qin Shujian immediately secretly channeled his vital essence, then forced a drop of blood from his mouth and spat it on the stone tablet. The blood fell. Soon, it merged into the stone tablet. Not long after, a line of words appeared on the stone tablet. Name, Qin Shujian race, human age, 31 years old, realm, level 5 of the celestial being, combat strength, 30, 800 talent assessment. Excellent. The information was similar to the one revealed by the heavenly mirror, but it was more complete. When he saw the age line, Qin Shujian also raised his eyebrows. To be honest, he had no idea how old he was. At most, he knew that this body was about 20 or 30 years old. But the information given by the stone tablet was more accurate. "So I'm 31 years old." Qin Shujian couldn't help but touch his chin. It was indeed a little prickly. As for his combat strength, after devouring the 5 demons, it had grown a lot. Qin Shujian had a hunch. If he could continue to devour demons like this, it seemed that he could reach a powerful realm without breaking through. "Senior, do you know what the talent assessment is based on?" Qin Shujian locked onto the last attribute column. He felt that this attribute was also quite important. Godslayer said, "In order to distinguish mediocre people from geniuses, the talent assessment is generally based on age, realm, combat strength, and race. It's divided into 4 levels: mediocre, superior, genius, and excellent. But each assessment also has a high and low level, so it's usually not shown in detail." "What does the talent assessment have to do with race?" Qin Shujian looked puzzled. He could understand age, realm, and combat strength, but why did it have to do with race? Godslayer said angrily, "How can it have nothing to do with race? Ordinary humans can live for 100 years and can set foot on the path of cultivation at the age of 3 or 5. Some races can live for thousands of years and may only understand human affairs after decades or hundreds of years. Although the human race generally has a short lifespan, their talent is extremely high, which other races can't compare with. If it's not based on race, then other races may not even be mediocre on the list." Qin Shujian suddenly understood. If that was the case, there was no problem. However, after hearing Godslayer's words, he asked again, "Don't tell me that mediocre isn't the lowest evaluation? Is there anyone who can't be on the list? You think the immortal leaderboard of myriad races is some kind of garbage list?" Godslayer sneered and said, "It's a list set up by the Emperor of Heaven. It's a supreme treasure that governs the experts of myriad races. You think just anyone is qualified to be on the immortal leaderboard of myriad races? Cultivators who can be on the list are at least celestial beings. By the same token, mediocre aptitude is judged by ancient standards. In ancient times, the upper limit of mediocre aptitude was celestial beings. If one didn't fall midway, it wouldn't be a big problem for them to become celestial beings in the future, but they wouldn't go too far in the celestial being realm. Mediocre aptitude cultivators generally have an upper limit of transcendent and sainthood. As for superior aptitude cultivators, they have a high probability of becoming almighty beings in the future, but almost no hope of becoming immortals. As for geniuses, there weren't many of them in ancient times. When they grew up, they could be comparable to the strongest experts of today's races. Moreover, they also had a certain probability of becoming immortals in the future. Excellence is the true top genius of the myriad races. If they don't fall, they will definitely become immortals. It can be said that the talent evaluation of the immortal leaderboard of myriad races represents the upper limit of a cultivator's future achievements. This upper limit isn't fixed. Some people can break it, but the probability is extremely subtle. Of course, talent isn't fixed either. It will change with the cultivator. Hearing this, Qin Shujian secretly clicked his tongue. In ancient times, those who could break through to the celestial being realm could only be considered mediocre. Until now. That was the genius that all the major sects had to raise. Even if they had broken through the 3 major continents, Celestials were still indispensable experts of every race. Of course. Now, those who were really guarding the sect were not ordinary Celestials. They had to be at least 7th level Celestial being or above. But no matter what, cultivators who could break through to the Celestial being realm were all worth cultivating. But judging from the meaning of Godslayer's words, Celestials were really ordinary. However, Qin Shujian still had a faint smile on his face even though he was complaining in his heart. After all, he had the highest evaluation. Outstanding! It seems that the accuracy of the immortal leaderboard of myriad races is still very high. It can tell at a glance that I will definitely break through to the true immortal realm in the future. Godslayer was speechless. Then, Qin Shujian took out a drop of blood essence that emitted a terrifying aura from his storage ring. That was Ling Huang's blood essence. Of the 2 drops of blood essence, he had used 1 drop. Now there was only 1 drop left. Looking at the fist-sized drop of blood essence, Qin Shujian's spiritual will slashed out like a knife, cutting out a trace of the complete blood essence, and then falling into the immortal leaderboard of myriad races. Soon, the information about the Earth Spirit Emperor also appeared instantly. Name Pan Xiao Race, Earth Eldar Age, 15,726 years old. Realm, Level 10 Celestial Being Combat Power, 25,700. Talent Evaluation, Superior. Seeing this attribute, Qin Shujian couldn't help but curse. Old fart. More than 15,000 years old. How long had he lived? And looking at Ling Huang's appearance, he hadn't reached the point where his lifespan was almost up. In other words, the other party still had at least 1 or 2,000 years to live. Godslayer said, "The Earth Eldar is a bit similar to the ancient Buddha race. The mountains have an eternal lifespan, but after giving birth to spiritual wisdom and flesh, they have a limit to their lifespan. Based on the lifespan of the Earth Eldar, the 10th level of the Heaven Realm can live for 20,000 to 30,000 years, which is 2 or 3 times the limit of the human race. However, the world is fair. The Earth Eldar has a long lifespan, but their talent is relatively weaker. Even with superior talent, it might take 200 or 300 years for the human race to break through to the Heaven Realm. If it is the Earth Eldar, it will take at least 1,000 years. This is the difference between races." Hearing this, Qin Shujian also felt relieved. Putting aside the issue of lifespan, he looked at the attributes on it seriously. Talent evaluation. Ling Huang was only superior. In other words, the probability of the other party breaking through to the immortal realm was almost 0. Whether he could even take a step forward and reach the Nirvana realm was still a problem. This was no wonder. Ling Huang had been in seclusion for so many years, but when he came out, he was still at the 10th level of the Heaven Realm. As for the other party's combat strength, it was also the first time Qin Shujian saw the strength of the supreme experts of other races so clearly. 25,700 points. Even without asking the God-slaying saber, he knew that this combat strength should be at a level that was neither high nor low. After all, the weakest immortal had a minimum combat strength of 100,000. If every level was increased by multiple times, then even if Ling Huang became an immortal, he would probably be the weakest immortal. Moreover, the other party didn't seem to have any hope of becoming an immortal. Thinking of this, a sinister smile appeared on Qin Shijian's face. If I tell this to the Earth Spirit Emperor, will he have a mental breakdown? However, he wasn't sure about these things. If he was a determined person, then even if he knew how talented he was, he wouldn't feel too discouraged. But if his temperament wasn't good, then it was hard to say. If Ling Huang belonged to the latter, when he knew that he had no chance of breaking through to the immortal realm, he would probably have a mental breakdown. God Slayer said indifferently, "The talent evaluation doesn't mean anything. Some people have superior talent but can become immortals in the end. Some people are geniuses but stop at the heaven realm. These things are not easy to judge. Talent is only one of them. What really determines how far a cultivator can go is their own perseverance. If you spread this news, if his temperament is bad, he will do as you wish. But if his temperament is firm, he might be motivated. At that time, it will be counterproductive." This kind of thing was common in ancient times. Some people were on the immortal leaderboard of the 10,000 races. After seeing their talent, they broke down on the spot and stopped advancing. Some people worked hard to break through their own shackles. It was precisely because there were good and bad people on this leaderboard. That was why the Emperor of Heaven revealed the talent evaluation. The main reason. It was to motivate some people's temperament. As for those cultivators with weak temperaments, they were not qualified to become strong. "I've learned something." Qin Shijian nodded and replied. He just said it casually, and didn't really mean to provoke Ling Huang. But looking at Ling Huang's combat power, then looking at his own combat power, Qin Shijian was sure that if he fought with Ling Huang head-on now, he would probably not be a match for him. Even if there was a gap in the rules. But this gap wouldn't be too big, and the other party probably didn't have any trump cards to make up for it. After putting away the immortal leaderboard of the 10,000 races, Qin Shijian went to find Jingfang and asked him to send a message to Marquis Baiyun. Then, he returned to the courtyard and began to cultivate. There were still 2 days left. In these 2 days he hoped to increase his strength again. And the fastest way to increase his strength was to comprehend the rules. So, Qin Shijian's so-called cultivation was not simply absorbing spirit energy, but entering the mother stream of laws to further comprehend the rules of power. But before he went into seclusion, he also specially reminded Godslayer, "Senior, if I don't wake up the day after tomorrow, please remind me so that I don't miss the time." Comprehending the rules, he was completely unaware of the passage of time. It would be awkward if he got caught in it. Godslayer said, "Okay, I'll remind you when the time comes." "Thank you, Senior." After Qin Shijian finished speaking, he linked up with the rules of power. Not long after, he had already captured the existence of the mother stream of laws. His divine sense transformed and entered the mother stream of laws in an instant. He didn't know if it was because of his deeper understanding of the rules of power or some other reason. This time, when he entered the mother stream of laws, Qin Shijian found that he was not as far away from the rules of power as the last time. Soon, a long river that was hundreds of feet wide appeared in his line of sight. When he saw the rules of power, Qin Shijian instantly had a realization in his heart. Immediately after, he saw a temporary gap appear in the mother stream of laws. Seeing this, Qin Shijian immediately entered through the gap. Entering the mother stream of laws, a wave of oppression suddenly came from within. Qin Shijian faced it calmly, and then took a step forward. It was different from the last time when many shadows appeared with every step he took. This time, only one shadow appeared after he walked a considerable distance. And these were the shadows that appeared. Some of them were seen before, while some were completely unfamiliar. It seems that the phantoms that appear in the long river of laws are not fixed. The last time I came here, the reason why I frequently encountered the phantoms obstructing me should be because there are foreign laws entering, causing the long river of laws to resist. After all, The mother stream of laws is extremely pure, just like the mother stream of laws in front of me. Once an existence that doesn't belong to the rules of power appears, it will be resisted. And those shadows should be the mother stream of laws' means of dealing with enemies. Walking in the mother stream of laws, Qin Shujian gradually had a strange feeling in his heart. Unlike the last time when he borrowed the rule power from the immortal leaderboard, this time he relied on his own strength to walk in the mother stream of laws. Although the speed was much slower than the previous time. However, it was much easier to walk. From the outside, the mother stream of laws is only 100 feet wide, and the length seems to be about 10,000 feet. However, the distance I'm walking now is not short, and when I spread out my perception, I can't sense the end. In that case, what the mother stream of laws sees from the outside is just an illusory image. Only by walking in can I face the real mother stream of laws. Qin Shujian stepped forward steadily, stepping on the river and moving forward. As he continued to go deeper, the oppression from the mother stream of laws also became stronger and stronger. Not long after, a shadow condensed and appeared. Qin Shujian glanced at the shadow and found that he didn't recognize it. Then, he swung his fist and attacked. Boom! Boom! The terrifying power shook, causing the surrounding river to be turbulent. Finally, Qin Shujian relied on his own strength to kill the shadow and then continued to walk forward. The deeper I go, the deeper my understanding of the mother stream of laws will be. At the same time, the pressure will also be greater. Moreover, every time the shadow appears to fight against the enemy, it will consume part of its power, making it harder for the cultivator to walk further. Looking at the endless mother stream of laws, Qin Shujian let out a long breath. True enough. It wasn't easy to walk to the end of the mother stream of laws. Now that he had come this far, it confirmed his previous guess. The last time he was blocked step by step, that was the self-protection method of the mother stream of laws. Now that he was entering by himself, the difficulty was much lower. Not to mention anything else. The strength of the shadow alone wasn't as strong as the previous time. As for the ancient Buddha Emperor, he didn't even see his shadow. According to Qin Shujian's guess, the ancient Buddha Emperor should be one of the few experts who was about to reach the end of the mother stream of laws. After all, the other party was the strongest of the ancient Buddha clan. Even if he hadn't become an immortal yet, he wasn't far away. Under normal circumstances, if he wanted to meet the ancient Buddha Emperor, he would have to go deeper. P.S. Today is the last day of the fan title event. For those who haven't participated yet, you can take a look at the comments section for Qin Shujian's promotion event. Chapter 596. Boom! Boom! In the long river of laws, two terrifying figures were fighting. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Shujian felt his soul faintly touched, as if something was summoning him, causing his action to pause for a moment. Immediately after, the cultivator in the battle smashed his body into pieces with a palm. When leaving the long river of laws, Qin Shujian took a deep look at that person, and then his vision turned black. In the courtyard, Qin Shujian opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura was dispirited for a moment, but he quickly recovered. "Senior, why are you disturbing me at this time?" As he spoke, his face was full of helplessness. If it wasn't for Godslayer's interruption, he might not have been defeated. Being killed and leaving the long river of laws was different from being killed and leaving on his own initiative. If an analogy had to be made, the former was equivalent to being killed and resurrected, with all attributes halved. The latter was equivalent to returning to the city. Godslayer said calmly, "You told me to call you when it's time, I just did as you said." Seeing Qin Shujian vomit blood, he was also a little embarrassed, but as a dignified Zubing, how could he bow his head and admit his mistake? Moreover, he also did as the other party said. The more he thought about it, the more confident Godslayer became. Hearing that, Qin Shujian opened his mouth and didn't know how to refute. Then, he could only helplessly say, "How much time has passed now?" "It's been 2 days since you started cultivating." 2 days? That's about it. Qin Shijian nodded silently. In 2 days, some news that should have been spread would have already been spread. If there wasn't, there was no need to wait. After a simple recovery of his injuries, Qin Shijian took out the inheritance of the demon clan that Star Sage gave him. "Senior, if you break the oath after making a rule, what kind of strength do you need to resist the punishment?" While looking at the stone ball, he asked. Now the demon clan was his enemy. Neo Dali was a little unsure. This inheritance of the demon clan might be ruined in his hands. If that was the case, it would be too wasteful. Qin Shijian thought. Was it possible for him to take the inheritance for himself? Godslayer snapped. "Don't even think about it. If you want to go against the rules, only the rules can do it. If you break the oath of the rules, heaven and earth will punish you. Even an ancient true immortal wouldn't have it easy. With your current strength, you'll definitely be reduced to ashes by the lightning tribulation." What was he thinking? How could a mere diviner resist the rules? If it were so easy to deal with, the oath of the rules would not be so important. Qin Shijian stared at the stone orb with a covetous look. But judging from Godslayer's words, it was clear that Godslayer's plan was a success. It would be impossible for him to steal the inheritance of the demon clan in the near future. Fortunately, when Qin Shijian first made the oath, he was careful that there was no time limit. Otherwise, he would have no choice but to find a demon race member and pass the inheritance to him. Now, at most, the inheritance would be in his hands. He looked at the stone ball again. Qin Shijian stuffed it back into his storage ring. Since he couldn't eat it, he didn't want to look at it anymore. He was sure that if he could swallow the blood essence of the stone orb, his combat power would increase by at least tens of thousands. When that time came, if the true immortals of the 4 major continents didn't come, no one would be able to fight him. But if he swallowed the stone orb, he would first face the punishment of the rules of heaven and earth. Qin Shijian felt that it would be better to find a way to retrieve the remains of the true immortal from the void turbulence rather than relying on this invincible weapon. He suppressed his thoughts. He got up and walked outside. "Sect Master, you're here." As soon as he walked out of the courtyard, Xin Yuqing stood there eagerly. "Elder Yuqing, what's the matter?" Qin Shijian frowned slightly. He looked at Xin Yuqing in front of him, a little confused. Xin Yuqing chuckled. "Sect Master, you're so forgetful. Aren't you going to the 100,000-mile territory to create the heaven list today? So I'm going with you. Have you paid the contribution points?" Xin Yuqing was stunned by such a straightforward question. She immediately came back to her senses. This time, there are a total of 23 people from the branch sect who want to go and observe. There are a total of 260,000 contribution points in here. Please take a look, Sect Master. As she spoke, she handed over the identity token with both hands. Qin Shijian took the token and mercilessly took away 260,000 contribution points before returning the token. Xin Yuqing didn't feel anything about this. As the hall master of the forging hall, she had also become a master forging hall. It wasn't difficult for her to earn contribution points. She could easily refine 1 or 2 spiritual weapons and the contribution points would be back. This was the benefit of being a support profession and becoming famous. Forging was the same as alchemists. It was tough in the early stages and required a lot of investment. But once she made the right choice, later on, when she grew up, the returns would be multiplied. Other things aside, in Xin Yuqing's current state, even if she didn't sleep or rest, she would be able to forge a spirit tool every 2 or 3 days. As for low-grade spirit tools, there was almost no possibility of failure. She could forge at least 10 spirit tools in a month. A master forging hall would not fail when forging low-grade spiritual weapons. 10 spiritual weapons in a month. It was enough to earn a lot of money. Of course, it was impossible to forge without sleeping or resting. Just talking about consumption, it wasn't something a spirit martial realm cultivator could support. But even if the number was halved, it was still an incredible income. So, 20,000 contribution points to Xinyuqing was just a drizzle. Let's go! After collecting the contribution points, Qin Shujian didn't waste any time. In the main sect, the others were already waiting. When they saw Qin Shujian arrive, they immediately greeted him. Immediately, Qin Shujian brought everyone to the 100,000-mile territory. The 100,000-mile territory. Because of the constant friction between the human clan and the various clans during this period of time, there were many more humans here. But most of them were players. The more intense the situation of the human clan was, the more they liked to run here. Because of the tense situation, it often represented the birth of a large number of missions. In the East City, in a market, many players had set up stalls to sell their wares. Some had even invited others to form parties. 10 players above the first level of the Spirit Martial Realm. The goal is to kill a monster at the 7th level of the Spirit Martial Realm. We have an expert at the 3rd level of the Spirit Martial Realm leading the team. After the mission is completed, all the rewards will be distributed according to the contribution. In a small group of 7 or 8 people, a player shouted loudly. Instantly, it attracted the attention of many people. The 7th level of the Spirit Martial Realm was an expert at the Vision Divine Realm and could be called a great cultivator. And the Monster Clan wasn't a monster. In terms of intelligence, the Monster Clan wasn't any worse than the Human Clan. Whether it was the Yuan Pavilion or the Imperial Court, there were missions to kill the Monster Clan. Although there was only one head, they could only complete one mission because they needed the corpse as evidence. But if they could successfully kill a monster at the 7th level of the Spirit Martial Realm, the rewards would be extremely generous. So, after that player shouted, the other players also rushed up. I'm at the 2nd level of the Spirit Martial Realm and I'm good at attacking. Bring me along! Me and me. Although I'm at the 1st level of the Spirit Martial Realm, I'm good at defending. Even if it's at the 3rd level of the Spirit Martial Realm, I can still take it. Go to the side. Who would have the chance to defend against a monster at the 7th level of the Spirit Martial Realm? It will definitely be a one-hit kill. Don't take anyone who is good at defending. I only want those who are good at attacking. I'm good at attacking. Many players signed up. The leader of the 3rd level of the Spirit Martial Realm. To be honest, that was already the top person among the players at the current stage. Until now. It seemed that there were players who hadn't officially stepped into the 4th level of the Spirit Martial Realm. The 3rd level of the Spirit Martial Realm was already the peak. Also at that time, a white light flashed, revealing the figures of hundreds of players. Such a change also attracted the attention of many people. So many people died at once. Either they were wiped out by the boss or they were ambushed by a trap. But no matter what, hundreds of people died at once. The loss could be considered tragic. The leading young player shouted angrily, I'll spend 1,000 taels of silver to hire all players at the 7th level of the true martial realm. Above the 7th level of the true martial realm, 500 taels for each level. The spirit martial realm starts from 500 taels, and each level up adds 2,000 taels. I want as many people as there are. Today, I'm going to cut down all the bastards of the 9 Moons Great World. Wow! As soon as those words came out, the scene suddenly shocked many people. After a short silence, suddenly, 90% of the players all rushed over. With such a generous reward, even if they died once, it was completely worth it. When Qin Shujian came to the East City, he happened to see such a scene. However, he didn't care and was about to leave with his people. At that moment, the player who originally shouted, after seeing Qin Shujian, immediately squeezed through the crowd and came in front of Qin Shujian. He cupped his hands and said, May I ask if you are Sect Master Qin? Who are you, and why are you blocking my way? Qin Shujian looked at the player in front of him with a somewhat unhappy expression. Suddenly, someone blocked his way out of nowhere. No matter who it was, they wouldn't be happy. However, this was the East City and the player in front of him was still considered polite. Qin Shujian didn't take action. If he ended up with a bad reputation because of this, then there was no need. One had to know. The current sect master Qin was different from before. In the past, he was a bandit. He could kill however he wanted. Now that he was the sect master, he had to pay attention to his identity. In addition, there were many players in the sect. If he killed players indiscriminately, it would also arouse the disgust of other players. Qin Shujian couldn't leave this group of experienced babies. Cough, cough, my name is Wang Wenjing. I have heard of Sect Master Qin for a long time. Now that I see Sect Master Qin in person, I couldn't help but want to meet you. Wang Wenum? Qin Shujian felt that this name was very unfamiliar, but looking at the other party, he vaguely felt that he was a little familiar. As long as it was a little familiar, Qin Shujian was basically certain that the other party must have been killed by him. However, this wasn't a problem either. So be it. That was all in the past. But now that the other party had come to find him at this time, he didn't have time to talk nonsense. After hearing this, Qin Shujian said coldly, "If you have something to say, just say it. I wonder if Sect Master Qin can ignore it?" Wang Wenjing said mysteriously. Seeing this, Qin Shujian originally wanted to refuse. But after thinking about it, he still used his divine sense to spread out and set up a simple array to cover the two of them. From the outside world, a strange wave spread out, and then Qin Shujian and Wang Wenjing were fixed in place. And inside the array, Wang Wenjing saw that the people outside seemed to have been immobilized and didn't move at all. For such a method. In his heart, he was both surprised and impressed. Sect Master Qin's method is admirable. If you have something to say, say it, Qin Shujian said coldly. Towards the indifference of this big shot, Wang Wenjing didn't care at all, but bowed and said, "I am willing to pay the price of 1,000,000 taels to ask Sect Master Qin to make a move. I wonder if Sect Master Qin is willing? Ask me to make a move? Sect Master Qin, don't worry. It's just some people from the 3 continents. Although they have a large number of people, their strength is extremely weak in front of Sect Master Qin. As long as Sect Master Qin is willing to make a move, I will immediately give you 1,000,000 taels of silver," Wang Wenjing said sincerely. Hearing this, Qin Shujian looked at Wang Wenjing seriously, and his heart was also somewhat moved. The person in front of him was just a player. A player could take out 1,000,000 taels of silver. He felt that it was necessary for him to reestimate the financial resources of the players at this stage. However, the current Qin Shujian was no longer the Qin Shujian of the past. Although 1,000,000 taels of silver was a lot, it was just a drizzle in his eyes. After Wang Wenjing finished speaking, he sneered and said, 1,000,000 taels of silver and you want me to make a move? Are you too naive, or is a Heaven Realm expert so unbearable in your eyes? Do you know that if you insult a Heaven Realm expert, even if I kill you on the spot, no one will say anything? This sentence was spoken out. The killing intent had turned into a substance. Suddenly, Wang Wenjing felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His body couldn't stop trembling, and he stammered, "Qin, Sect Master Qin, don't misunderstand, I didn't mean that, For a moment, he didn't know how to answer. For Qin Shujian, Wang Wenjing still had a little understanding. His biggest characteristic was that he was greedy for money, commonly known as money grubber. As long as the money was in place, everything was fine. It was just that he had guessed Qin Shujian's character, but he didn't expect that his money would not be in place. As soon as the words came out, he got into big trouble. Suddenly, the condensed killing intent suddenly disappeared. Qin Shujian looked at Wang Wenjing, who was sweating profusely, and said lightly, "Do you have any spirit stones on you, or the accompanying jade of the spirit stone vein?" "Yes, yes." Wang Wenjing hurriedly took out a piece of jade the size of an adult's arm from the storage ring. Qin Shujian took the jade, and then cut off a small piece of it. Immediately afterward, a wave of divine sense attached to it, and all the jade stones were thrown back to him. Seeing this, Wang Wenjing took it in a hurry. He first put away the original jade, and then looked at the palm-sized jade in his hand, revealing a look of surprise and doubt. There's a part of my power attached to it. It can be considered a celestial decree. How about I charge you 1,000,000 taels of silver? Qin Shujian said with a faint smile. Celestial decree. Wang Wenjing immediately held the jade tightly and nodded overjoyed. Thank you, Sect Master Qin! It didn't matter if he couldn't get Qin Shujian to help. As long as he could get the other party's celestial decree, that was enough. Thinking of something, Wang Wenjing's face suddenly revealed a ferocious smile. The little bastard of the 9 moons world. Killing him was so satisfying. This time, it was time to let these people have a taste of sweetness. With Qin Shujian's celestial decree in hand, those bastards of the 9 moons world must be wiped out. Soon, the formation was broken. Qin Shujian left with his people. The difference was that there were 1,000,000 taels of silver in the storage ring. A part of divine thought. For him now, it was nothing at all. In this way, he could exchange it for 1,000,000 taels of silver. It was almost a free deal. For such a thing, how could Qin Shujian refuse? In the city lord's mansion, Qin Shujian had temporarily settled Xinyuqing and others, and then met with the experts of the imperial court in the lobby. East City Lord Huazhan, Bright Vision General Dan Hao, Marquis Beiyun Shao Chengfeng, Sect Master Qin Shujian of Yuan Sect. The 4 of them were all top experts of the human clan, but at this moment, they were gathered together. Greetings, Sect Master Qin! Sect Master Qin! Needless to say, Dan Hao and East City Lord, even Marquis Beiyun saluted. Qin Shujian saluted them one by one. Subsequently, everyone took their seats one after another. East City Lord was the first to speak. I heard that Sect Master Qin wants to borrow 100,000 miles of the human clan's territory to refine a divine weapon. This time, we have spread the news on behalf of the human clan, and at that time, it will definitely attract experts of many clans. At that time, I'm afraid that someone will make trouble. Although we will try our best to defend, we may not be able to do it perfectly. I wonder if Sect Master Qin has other plans? For Qin Shujian, East City Lord was quite impressed. This expert from Yanzhong had killed many almighties of the foreign tribes. In terms of strength, it had also reached a shocking level. Therefore, when Qin Shujian sent the message, East City Lord immediately arranged for people to cooperate with Yuan Sect. In addition to admiring Qin Shujian, he also understood the purpose of the other party's actions. It was nothing more than he wanted to personally test his forging skills in front of the various clans. With this, some experts of the various clans would take action to exert pressure on the demon clan. After all, there was a divine weapon in front of them. The deterrence of the demon clan would be imperceptibly weakened by a lot. Qin Shujian said, East City Lord, you don't have to worry about this matter. In the current situation, the various clans may not take action. Even if there are experts, there won't be too many of them. I believe that with your strength, it won't be a big problem to intercept them. Besides, even if the forging fails this time, we won't lose anything. At that time, there will still be a few experts of foreign clans left. A mere Dao artifact in exchange for a few powerful experts, wouldn't it be a big profit? Hearing this, East City Lord's expression was obviously relaxed. Seeing this, Qin Shujian also smiled in response. He didn't give the other party too much pressure. If they really couldn't resist, they would fail. However, if they really failed, it wouldn't be as simple as killing a few powerful experts. With Qin Shujian's fiery temper, at least he had to drag a few clans down with him. In the past, he didn't have this strength, but it was different now. Speaking of this, Qin Shujian looked at Marquis Beiyun and said with a smile, I'm very grateful that Marquis Beiyun can come out this time. If there really are powerful experts, I hope that Marquis Beiyun can intercept them. Don't worry, Sect Master Qin. You are a member of my Baiyun mansion. I will do my best, Marquis Baiyun said with a smile. Qin Shujian said, Thank you very much. It was different from the last time he saw Marquis Baiyun. This time, Marquis Baiyun gave him a strange feeling. He was still the same person. But the difference was, Marquis Baiyun in front of him was less calm and sharper, and his aura seemed to be more fierce. He felt that way. Qin Shujian never doubted too much. Since he had such a feeling, it couldn't be wrong. Marquis Baiyun. There must have been some changes that he didn't know about. But Qin Shujian couldn't ask too much about these things. Dan Hao said, When the imperial court found out about Sect Master Qin this time, His Majesty wanted the 2 elders of the imperial astronomer to come and help. No need. Now that the human race has many things to do, how can we trouble the elders of the imperial astronomer for this? Qin Shujian flatly refused. It was useless to have more people. If someone were to make a move, 1 or 2 more mighty figures or 1 or 2 fewer mighty figures wouldn't make much of a difference. After all, the elders of the imperial astronomer were, to be honest, a little weak. Putting everything else aside, the elders of the imperial astronomer couldn't be compared to Marquis Baiyun alone. Marquis Baiyun. He was comparable to 4 or 5 experts of the 9th level of the celestial being realm. If even Marquis Baiyun couldn't stop him, then unless it was an expert of Shi Yang's level, it would be useless. Hearing this, Dan Hao didn't say anything more. These things weren't his intention. He just conveyed it on behalf of Marquis Baiyun. Marquis Baiyun said, When does Sect Master Qin plan to start? Tomorrow. I'm tired today. Let's take a rest. Well, forging a divine weapon is no small matter. You still need to conserve your energy. I've already arranged a place for you to rest. As long as Sect Master Qin is willing, you can go now. The East City Lord said. Thank you, East City Lord. You're welcome. The next day, the East City Lord stayed in the East City. Marquis Baiyun, Dan Hao, Qin Shujian, and many cultivators who wanted to watch left the East City and went to the area 10,000 miles away from the East City. This area. Even though they didn't walk out of the territory, they were very close to the border. To put it simply, if they took a step forward, they would reach the safe area. If they took a step back, they would return to the human territory. Qin Shujian said, General Dan and Marquis Baiyun, please guard the void in case of a sneak attack. Okay. The 2 of them looked at each other and took a step forward, suppressing the void. Then, Qin Shujian looked at the people who were watching and said, All the observers step back a little. If you encounter an irresistible force, don't force it. Otherwise, don't regret it if you die or get injured. Sect Master Qin, don't worry. We understand. Some experts from other sects nodded and replied. Then, these people had already retreated 100 feet away. Seeing this, Qin Shujian didn't start forging immediately. Instead, he set up a protective array, covering the entire 10,000 miles of territory. Similarly, a portion of the people who were still within the range of the array were all forced back by him. Only those cultivators who had paid the money. They were still within the range of the array. After doing these things, Qin Shujian didn't waste any time. He immediately took out the materials and began to forge. Chapter 597. The Heavenly List of Yuan Sect. It would carry the fortune of the sect in the future. Such a supreme treasure. Qin Shujian naturally wouldn't forge it casually. For this divine weapon, he even went to Eldar alone and obtained 2 drops of essence blood from Ling Huang. For this divine weapon, he cancelled all the rewards and also owed the human emperor a promise in exchange for the fragment of the myriad races immortal list. After everything was ready, Qin Shujian quickly entered the state. First, his true essence surged, turning the heaven and earth within 100 feet into a huge furnace. Then, it was a raging inferno. Terrifying temperature. It burned the void until it was dark and distorted. When the flames appeared, the expressions of the cultivators standing 100 feet away changed drastically, and then they frantically retreated without thinking. Some of the cultivators with low cultivation. They even retreated 1,000 feet away before they felt that the heat had reduced to a level that they could withstand. The flames alone have reached a level that people can't bear at close range. It's extremely terrifying. A great cultivator of the god martial arts realm sighed. Forging a divine weapon. The first was the flame. Only a superior flame could forge a superior divine weapon. As for the flame, it was either formed naturally, or burned with top materials, or used one's own true essence as fuel like Qin Shujian. The first two relied on external objects. If it was the latter, he would have to rely on himself. Immediately, Qin Shujian took out the fragment of the myriad races immortal list and threw it directly into the furnace. If it was a complete nine-seal Dao artifact, he wasn't sure if he could refine it without using the red lotus of purgation. But it was different now. The myriad races immortal list had been broken. Although the fragments retained some power, they were still indestructible. But compared to its heyday, it was still a lot worse. As the stone tablet was thrown into the furnace, Qin Shujian held a sledgehammer made of true essence and hit the stone tablet. Bang! An earth-shattering explosion shook the void, causing it to tremble and crack. All the spectators felt their hearts tremble, as if their liver and gallbladder were about to burst. At that moment, some cultivators even felt as if they were about to stop breathing. But after this feeling subsided, however, it was as if there was a spring rain moistening things, allowing people to have a different kind of comprehension. Meanwhile, a loud boom seemed to explode in the sky above the human territory. Everyone's attention fell on the source of the sound. The East City Lord looked over with a solemn expression. "It's starting!" He knew. This was the signal for Qin Shujian to start casting. At this moment, the East City Lord had already sensed the surging auras of experts from various clans outside the human clan's territory. It was predictable. The existence of Qin Shujian, the second strongest human and the best human forger, attracted the attention of all races. After all, in terms of strength, Qin Shujian was one of the best in the 4 great continents. When it came to casting methods, the forging methods of the various races had declined, and they had not produced a grandmaster for many years. Compared to the human race, they were much better. Now that the number 1 artificer of the human race was forging a divine weapon in public, it was difficult not to attract attention. Therefore, before Qin Shujian had even started, there were already powerful beings from various clans who had arrived. Now, the casting had begun. Needless to say, "Men! What orders do you have, Lord?" "Pass down the order. The East City Army is under martial law. Any foreign race expert who crosses into the human territory without permission will be killed without mercy." "Yes, Lord." The Deputy General who came in bowed and accepted the order. The East City Lord waved his hand and dismissed him. Then, he looked at the empty void in front of him, and sneered to himself. "I hope you know what's good for you and don't make things difficult for me. Otherwise, it's inevitable that blood will flow like a river again." The human race was not weak. It could even be said that they were very strong. If they really angered the human race, unless it was a top clan like the demon race. Or else, the other clans were not qualified to bear the wrath of the human race. Then, the East City Lord took out his communication jade talisman and sent the message to the other 3 cities. At this point, the human territory fell into a state of martial law. On the other side, Qin Shujian waved his sledgehammer and constantly knocked on the stone tablet. With the void of heaven and earth as the furnace and his own vital essence as the fuel, the flames produced had reached the point where they could incinerate a celestial being. The stone tablet was in the furnace. It was also gradually turning red. Qin Shujian calmed his mind and focused on hammering the stone tablet. Every time the hammer fell, it was in harmony with heaven and earth, and endless wonderful sounds were born. But this wonderful sound, only the people within the range of the array could understand something when they heard it. Once they were out of the range of the array, it was just a simple loud sound. In less than half an hour, a strange phenomenon had already appeared in the sky. A huge void furnace appeared, and a stone tablet was being burned in it. A person holding a sledgehammer was forging crazily. As soon as this scene appeared, it immediately caused the hearts of the experts from various clans to tremble. A strange phenomenon of heaven and earth. Rumor has it that only the top forging masters will have a strange phenomenon of heaven and earth when they are forging divine weapons. I didn't expect to see it in my lifetime. Outside the territory, on a mountain peak that towered into the clouds, 3 people stood there. The person who spoke. It was a beautiful woman in a fiery red dress. Could it be that even Holy Fire's methods are inferior? Tianhong said with a chuckle. Hearing that, the woman in red, who was also Holy Fire, glanced at him and sneered. Lord Tianhong, don't deliberately mock me. My Vermilion Bird clan was indeed an expert in forging during the ancient times. But the inheritance has long been cut off. The Emperor of Heaven was ruthless and destroyed all the experts of my Vermilion Bird clan. Otherwise, why would it be like this? For so many years, countless predecessors have tried to retrace the ancient path, but in the end, they all failed. The human clan still retains a complete inheritance. The Emperor of Heaven is ultimately selfish. Finally, a strong killing intent appeared on Holy Fire's beautiful face. The Vermilion Bird clan had suffered heavy casualties. All the top experts were wiped out, and only a small number of weak clansmen remained. As a result, the Vermilion Bird clan's strength was not considered the top among the Demon clan. These things. Holy Fire didn't think much of it at first. But now that she saw Qin Shujian's forging methods, a wave of dissatisfaction suddenly surged from the bottom of her heart. Why should the human clan still have a complete inheritance? This was unfair to begin with. Tianhong's smile faded a little. He looked at the human clan's territory and said coldly, "The Emperor of Heaven is a human. It's unfair if it's unfair, but now that the ancient times have been destroyed for 1,000,000 years, the human clan doesn't have the right to dominate. It's fine if they're content with staying in the eastern continent, but now that they dare to come out, they're digging their own graves." For the human clan, Tianhong's heart was filled with great killing intent. Holy Fire said, "When do you plan to make a move? We'll see how the situation goes. Qin Shujian is very strong. Even Ling Huang was severely injured. Even if the 3 of us join forces, we may not be able to match him." Tianhong shook his head and said, "But he's caused too much of a commotion this time. Other than us, the other races have also sent powerhouses here. When it's necessary, someone will naturally make a move. He's too arrogant. Does he really think that no one can do anything to him in the human clan's territory? That's just because the other races don't want to fight with the human clan. If they really want to fight, what can the human clan use to stop them?" This time, on the demon clan's side, a total of 3 demon saints had come. One was him, the other was Holy Fire of the Vermilion Birds, and the last was also a famous powerhouse among the demons. The 3 demon saints joined forces. Tianhong was confident that he could contend against the rulers of some races. In a plain, 2 thin middle-aged men stood there and looked at the human clan's territory in front of them. Is the number 1 blacksmith of the human clan really confident that he can forge a top-notch spirit tool comparable to a Taoist tool? I think so. Seeing that the heaven and earth phenomenon appeared so quickly, his methods are indeed extraordinary. Moreover, you and I have seen the gates of the 4 cities of the human clan's territory from afar. Their power is indeed extraordinary. Our 9-headed dog clan has consumed a lot of energy fighting against the demons over the years. If the human clan can help us, it'll be a good thing. Let's wait and see. The human clan believes that those who are not of our race must have different intentions. They might not be good partners." The 2 of them chatted intermittently. The 9-headed dog clan still had a friendly attitude toward the human clan. However, if they really wanted to talk about cooperation, it was still in a state of uncertainty. Subsequently, the middle-aged man on the left turned his head to look at a certain mountain peak and said with a faint smile, "I asked about the smell of roasted chicken. It seems that the hoof of the Vermilion Bird clan is here. I haven't eaten the Vermilion Bird clan for a long time. I've almost forgotten the taste. Humph, it's not just the smell of the Vermilion Bird clan. There are also other familiar auras. This time, the demons have also put in a lot of effort." The person on the right sneered and said, "If we really want to make a move later, do you plan to make them stay?" In his words, he already had the intention to kill Tian Hong and the others. Hearing that, the person on the left shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. If I'm not wrong, Tian Hong should be here too. Although his strength isn't that great, his life-saving methods are top-notch. It's fine if he's alone, but it's hard to say if there are 3 of them. However, if he wants to make the Vermilion Bird clan stay alone, it won't be a big problem. Then let's wait and see." Hearing that, the person on the right was not in a hurry. The current situation was still unclear. If they rashly attacked the demon saint of the demon clan, it would only make the demon emperor flustered and exasperated. And when the heaven and earth vision appeared, many of the surrounding experts could not help but whisper. Their divine senses intertwined in the void. However, no one acted rashly. Because they had just started casting and were not even close to success. There was no need to rush at all. This wait, 3 days passed. In these 3 days, in the human clan's territory, only the sound of hammering could be heard. The heaven and earth vision also became more and more solid. From afar, it seemed that Qin Shujian had magnified hundreds of times and was constantly hammering the stone tablet. When the Myriad Clan's immortal leaderboard was complete, it was indeed a top Dao artifact in its heyday. Even after it was broken, it was not an easy task to smelt it. 3 days, even the top 9th level materials would have been melted into slag. However, until now, the stone tablet had just shown signs of melting. However, Qin Shujian did not care about the passage of time at all. In his eyes there was only the existence of the stone tablet. He had even abandoned everything around him. Bang! Bang! Hammer after hammer, he kept hammering on the stone tablet. The true essence hammer fell down, shaking the lines on the stone tablet and gradually collapsing. Another day passed. As the lines on the stone tablet collapsed and disappeared, the stone tablet officially entered the melting stage. As soon as the stone tablet melted, Qin Shujian took out the materials that he had prepared for a long time and then integrated them into the stone tablet bit by bit. While smelting the materials, Qin Shujian was multitasking. The hammer still kept hammering. Gray impurities. They were hammered out from those materials. Another day passed. All the materials were fused together. Then Qin Shujian began to use his divine thought to control the liquid, condensing the embryonic form of the heaven list. Rumble, in just a breath's time. The clear sky was instantly covered by dark clouds. When the heaven list condensed, the thunder tribulation suddenly struck down. Crack! The purple thunder was like a wild dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Wherever it passed, the space was shattered into powder, as if it was determined to destroy the heaven list. However, just as the thunder berserk dragon bombarded the heaven list, the true essence sledgehammer fell down at the perfect time, immediately shattering the thunder berserk dragon. The rich thunder turned into pure energy and merged into the embryonic form of the heaven list. It dyed the list with an undetectable purple color. At this moment, the second bolt of lightning struck. The power of each thunder was extremely terrifying, enough to make a celestial supreme cultivator feel a great threat. However, such thunder power, it could not do anything to Qin Shujian at all. It could not do anything to the heaven list. After all, although the current heaven list was only in its embryonic form, the material foundation was the fragment of the immortal list of myriad clans. Even with Qin Shujian's strength, it took a full 4 days to melt the fragment. With the current strength of the thunder, it was impossible to destroy the heaven list. As the thunder continued to fall, the heavenly ranking also gradually solidified. A faint aura of power spread out, causing the hearts of all the cultivators to tremble. Pressure. I feel the pressure not weaker than that of a celestial. That's obviously a spirit artifact, but it can emit the pressure of a Tao artifact. Can it really be successfully forged? A powerhouse transmitted his divine thought, looking at the scene in front of him with shock. What was their purpose for coming here? It was because of the propaganda of the human clan, as well as the mission issued by Qin Shujian some time ago. Killing the demon clan powerhouses. They could exchange for a top spirit artifact comparable to a Tao artifact. But for a top spirit artifact, in fact, there was no fixed boundary. Whether there was really a spirit artifact comparable to a Tao artifact was still a question to be discussed. More importantly, if it was only comparable to an ordinary 1 or 2 sealed Tao artifact, it would not be of much use to some powerhouses. To really attract their attention, it had to be at least comparable to a 4 or 5 sealed Tao artifact. But the forging had not been completed yet. The heaven list had already emitted a pressure not weaker than that of a celestial. This kind of pressure, it was already at the level of a Tao artifact. And it was at least at the level of a 2 sealed Tao artifact. However, there were also some powerhouses who saw some clues and said, "The stone tablet that Qin Shujian melted earlier is not simple. I'm afraid it's a fragment of a supreme treasure." As for how important a supreme treasure fragment is, everyone should be very clear. Hearing this, some people's excited hearts also calmed down a little. That's right. They did not recognize the origin of the stone tablet. But some people could still see the identity of the stone tablet as a supreme treasure. What was a supreme treasure? That was an extremely precious treasure. There might not be such a complete supreme treasure in the 4 continents. Of course, there might be a supreme treasure fragment. But no matter what, if they used a supreme treasure fragment and only got a 2 sealed Tao artifact, it would be completely a waste of money. The divine weapon he forged is still at the level of a spiritual artifact, but its power is almost at the level of a 3 sealed Tao artifact. I just don't know what kind of treasure the stone tablet he melted earlier is. If it's just an ordinary supreme treasure fragment, his means are really extraordinary. In the distant void, Gu Shaun said faintly. He was one of the powerhouses of the God clan and was also the secret master forger of the God clan. This time, Qin Shujian publicly forged a top-notch Tao artifact, which also drew Gu Shaun out. Besides that, there was another powerhouse from the God clan who accompanied him. His name was Gu Wan. These two were the rare powerhouses of the 9th tier of the Heaven Realm in the God clan. Originally, with the foundation of the God clan, powerhouses of the 9th tier of the Heaven Realm would not be so rare. But unfortunately, during the war, Qin Shujian had killed many powerhouses of the God clan. As a result, this caused the strength of the God clan to decline a lot. If the Divine Emperor was not still around, now, there would be a lot of turmoil within the God clan. Guwan, who was at the side, heard this and said, "Brother Gu Shaun, if this divine weapon is completed, what level will it be?" "There's a high probability that it'll be comparable to a 4 sealed Tao artifact, and there's a small probability that it'll be comparable to a 5 sealed Tao artifact." Gu Shaun was silent for a while and gave an answer that he thought was pertinent. Guwan took a breath and said, "A spiritual artifact that can be comparable to a 5 sealed Tao artifact, this means might not be too amazing. The means are extraordinary, but if you want to say that it's amazing, it should be because of the supreme treasure fragment." Gu Shaun shook his head and said, "It's a pity that I can't see the origin of the supreme treasure fragment. Otherwise, I can also speculate something." The myriad races' immortal ranking had been broken in the ancient times. Now, 1,000,000 years had passed. The powerhouses of the ancient times were all dead. Coupled with the fact that the myriad races' immortal ranking was broken, there was not a single powerhouse who could really recognize it. Even Qin Shujian. If God's Slayer had not confirmed it, he would not have recognized that the stone tablet was a fragment of the myriad races' immortal ranking. Guwan said, "There are also powerhouses from the demon clan. This time, we can't let Qin Shujian succeed." If he really succeeds, we will be in a lot of trouble. Although the other party used the supreme treasure fragment to forge the divine weapon. But for some powerhouses, they would ignore this matter. If they really let the other party succeed in forging, for some people, this was an irresistible temptation. Benefits moved people's hearts. A powerful divine weapon was equivalent to a powerful cultivation method and martial arts. When that time came, no matter how powerful these big clans were, there would still be cultivators who would take the risk out of desperation. Gu Xian said, "Now is not the time to make a move. Qin Shujian is very strong, and forging now consumes a lot of energy for him. Moreover, it's not a critical moment, so he can stop at any time. With his strength that severely injured Ling Huang, if we act rashly, we may die here. Let's wait for a while. When he is really exhausted and can't get away, then it will be our chance to make a move. Moreover, the Demon Clan and the Blood Eldar have sent people here. There are many powerhouses from different clans now. These people are not for sale. Why should we be in a hurry to be the first to make a move?" In Du Xian's opinion, the God Clan was not the only one who did not want to see Qin Shujian succeed. At this time, there was no need for the God Clan to jump out first. In the previous battle, the God Clan suffered the greatest loss. The other clans' losses were much smaller. In this way, the God Clan could not act rashly. No matter what, they had to wait for the other clans to make a move first. Otherwise, if the God Clan lost one or two more powerhouses, then it would really be over. Gu Wan heard this and nodded slightly. "Everything will be as Brother Gu Xian said." This time, he came out with Gu Xian under the order of the Emperor God. Gu Xian was in charge of everything, and Gu Wan was only an assistant. But for this, Gu Wan was not dissatisfied. Anyway, who was in charge and who was not, it was a small matter. It did not matter. The thunder tribulation lasted for 7 days. After 7 days, the embryonic form of the heaven list gradually solidified and was completely soaked in purple. At this moment, the aura emitted by the heaven list was no weaker than a four-sealed Dao artifact. At this moment, Qin Shujian's face suddenly became solemn. He suddenly shouted and smashed the hammer again. The heaven list shook. In the storage ring, an innate spiritual item flew out and fell into the heaven and earth furnace. Half a day later, the innate spiritual item melted bit by bit. As the innate spiritual item melted, the heaven list shook violently and was undergoing a terrifying transformation. The thunder in the sky condensed again. Compared to the purple thunder tribulation last time, this time, the thunder tribulation was dark red and full of destructive aura. The power of the thunder tribulation, even the heavenly human powerhouses who were secretly watching all changed their expressions. Many powerhouses looked at the thunder tribulation with flickering eyes. At this level, there were not many things that could threaten them. But above the dark red thunder clouds, they felt an ominous aura. East City, a person rose into the air and his aura spread out, sweeping thousands of miles away. "This is the territory of the human clan. Anyone who steps into the territory of the human clan without permission and interferes with the forging of divine weapons will be the mortal enemy of the human clan. Please take care of yourselves." The person who spoke was the East City Lord, Huazhan. As soon as he finished speaking, the other 3 cities also had phantoms. At this moment, the auras of the 4 cities were connected. There was a faint formation floating in the 100,000 miles of the human clan's territory. An aura that suppressed heaven and earth spread out mightily, causing many powerhouses' expressions to change drastically. Originally, the 4 city lords were just Saint Realm cultivators, so they didn't take the threat seriously. But now, after the formation was connected, in addition, the auras of the 4 city lords were connected to the cities. The aura they emitted made even the powerhouses feel threatened. This was also since the human clan established the 100,000 miles of territory. For the first time, they showed their ferocious fangs in front of other clans. Suddenly, some powerhouses of various clans who had thoughts in their hearts suppressed the impulse in their hearts. Even the powerhouses of the Demon Clan, and the God clan didn't dare to act rashly. At this moment, thunder fell, and heaven and earth exploded. P.S. Please support the original version and the author's creation. Chidian Chinese Network, original name. From knockoff NPC to Big Boss. Current name. I am decent. Chapter 598. A Dark Red Thunderbolt. It was a thunderbolt of destruction. Whenever a powerful divine weapon appeared in the world, it would be tested by this thunderbolt. If it could withstand it. It was a supreme treasure with unparalleled power. Once it could not withstand it, there was nothing to say. As the dark red thunderbolt fell, Qin Shujian held his breath, not daring to be distracted. He focused all his attention on the heaven list in front of him, constantly tempering this Tao artifact. Boom! The first thunderbolt fell. The heaven list shook slightly. The moment the thunderbolt fell, Qin Shujian had already struck with his true essence sledgehammer, dispersing the thunderbolt's power. A Tao seal quietly condensed from the heaven list. When the first Tao seal appeared, the heaven list's aura surged violently. The Tao seal has appeared. This is not as simple as forging a top-tier spiritual weapon. He is forging a powerful Tao artifact. Holy Fire's expression suddenly changed. The demons had been waiting for an opportunity to strike. She originally thought that Qin Shujian was only forging a top-tier spiritual weapon, but she did not expect him to be forging a real Tao artifact at this moment. Furthermore, Holy Fire could see that the Tao artifact that Qin Shujian was forging would not be a simple Tao artifact. After all, the spiritual weapon's power was already close to that of a 5-seal Tao artifact. Now that the innate embryo had been integrated, the Tao artifact forged would be at least of the 5-seal level. Or else, there was no need to integrate the innate embryo. Tianhong's expression was solemn as he said in a deep voice. From Holy Fire's point of view, what are the chances of Qin Shujian succeeding? Very high. Holy Fire gave a simple evaluation, then said solemnly, he is too strong. Although the thunderbolt is powerful, it is not a threat to an expert of this level. Unless the thunderbolt's power increases dramatically, it will be difficult to make him fail. We can only wait until the final moment and find an opportunity to strike. If there is really no other way, I suggest we retreat. When it came to retreating, Holy Fire was also a little unwilling. However, she knew very well that if there was really no chance to intervene, forcefully striking might cause her and the others to die. An existence with the combat power of an ultimate expert. It was not something that ordinary almighties could compare to. Not to mention, the human race was not to be trifled with. At this moment, in the territory, the city lords of the 4 cities released their auras, and a terrifying array had been activated. Although the array formation was only set up by a second realm array Tao Grandmaster, it was still very powerful. However, with the 4 cities as the foundation and the many powerhouses of the human race as the eye of the formation, the power unleashed had long surpassed the level of the second realm. Even if a mighty figure fell into it, the slightest carelessness could lead to the risk of death. Facing this great formation, not only were the Yao clan apprehensive, but the other clans were also apprehensive. East City Lord Huizhan stood on top of the city wall with his hands behind his back as he looked at the many experts hidden in the void in front of him. At the same time, he diverted some of his attention to where Qin Shujian was. At this moment, the East City Lord smiled bitterly in his heart. To tell the truth, he really didn't expect that Qin Shujian's forging of a divine weapon would cause such a huge commotion. He hadn't even completed the forging yet, but the lightning tribulation that descended already made his heart palpitate. There was no need to think about it. They all understood that the grade of the divine weapon forged by the other party was definitely beyond their imagination. In the East City Lord's perception, it was unknown how many experts were hidden in the void. Putting everything else aside, there were no less than dozens of auras that made his heart palpitate. This meant that there were at least dozens of mighty figures staring at him. Although, not all of these experts were hostile to the human race. But at least half of them had ill intentions. This half of the experts. There were at least 20 mighty figures. If all of them really charged into the human territory, it would definitely be another great battle that wouldn't be inferior to the previous one. Regarding this, Huijan also felt a lot of pressure in his heart. To be able to become the East City Lord, he was naturally not someone who was afraid of death. Huijan's main concern was the foundation that the human race had painstakingly built would be completely ruined because of this. If that was the case, those who died in battle would have died in vain. However, while he was worried, a glimmer of hope surged in Huijan's heart. After all, Qin Shujian was confident in doing so. He should be confident in controlling the situation. If it really couldn't work, then they would fight. On the other side, the aura of destruction filled the air. The void was turned into dust. Qin Shujian stepped on the ground, and a terrifying force suppressed the void. He held the vital essence hammer in his hand and was still tempering the heaven list. Until now, the thunder tribulation had already struck 13 times. 3 Dao seals on the heaven list had already taken shape, and the 4th Dao seal was being nurtured. As time passed, it was the same thunder tribulation, but the power that descended was even more powerful. In the Sea of Consciousness, Godslayer said, "I've already sensed the aura of many cultivators. There are at least 40 cultivators above the 7th level of the celestial being who came this time. If they really want to attack, are you confident that you can withstand them?" Qin Shujian didn't answer and was still tempering. Godslayer couldn't do anything about this. He realized that Qin Shujian looked very cautious and stable, but in fact, the way he did things was extremely radical. Just like now, more than 40 mighty figures had been attracted to the forging of a divine weapon. So many experts were really going to attack together. Godslayer also felt that it was hard to do so. He didn't deny Qin Shujian's strength, but no matter how strong he was still alone. It was very difficult to ignore the number of people of the same level. To be honest, Godslayer didn't have much confidence either. However, judging from Qin Shujian's appearance, it was obvious that he wouldn't stop halfway. Of course, Godslayer also didn't want Qin Shujian to stop. This time, in order to forge a divine weapon, he had melted all the fragments of the immortal list of myriad races. If he failed, it would be a complete waste. He thought of his Siener. As the god-slaying saber mourned, it suddenly felt that something was amiss. But what was strange about it? He couldn't tell for a while. At this moment, another shocking thunderbolt struck. Qin Shujian suddenly shouted, and the vital essence hammer shattered the vacuum, forcibly destroyed the power of the thunderbolt, and then led it to the heaven list. Immediately, the 4th Dao seal was directly formed. Rumble! When the 4th Dao seal was formed, the thunderclouds in the sky suddenly grew larger, directly covering thousands of miles of land. Qin Shujian shouted, "Everyone, get out of the range of the thunder tribulation. If you insist on not retreating, don't blame me if you die." After that, he didn't have time to care so much. This time, 3 blood-red thunderbolts fell, and the powerful aura was enough to destroy an almighty. In the face of such a thunder tribulation, Qin Shujian's expression was extremely solemn. It was also forging a Dao artifact. Now that the heaven list was only at the level of a 4-sealed Dao artifact, the power of the tribulation was several times more terrifying than when Cold Mountain City was upgraded to a 5-sealed Dao artifact. Such a change. It made him immediately think of the fragment of the immortal list of myriad races. Perhaps it had merged with this fragment of the supreme treasure. That led to the change of the thunder tribulation. Although Qin Shujian was solemn about such a change, he didn't regret it at all. It could be said that the heaven list was the foundation of Yuan sect in the future, and it was the supreme treasure that carried Yuan sect's luck. Such an existence. How could he be careless? The stronger the thunder tribulation was now, the greater the potential of the heaven list. As long as it wasn't an ancient true immortal level thunder tribulation, Qin Shijian wasn't afraid at all. Up until now, he hadn't even shown his true strength. If he really used all his trump cards, not to mention a mere thunder tribulation, even the tribulation clouds above could be destroyed by Qin Shijian. However, he was just thinking about it. If he really destroyed the tribulation clouds, it might incur the wrath of the rules. When that time came, perhaps an ancient true immortal level thunder tribulation would appear. That was a path to self-destruction. Even if he knew that the forging would fail, Qin Shijian wouldn't do it. As for those who were watching, they had already left at this moment. Actually, there was no need for Qin Shijian to remind them. The power of the thunder tribulation already made people's hearts palpitate. If they didn't leave, facing the aftermath, they would definitely die. Now that the forging hadn't been completed yet, they had to leave halfway. But those people didn't feel regretful. Because of the enlightenment in front. It was enough for them to digest. At least, it was also worth the ticket price. As for more, they could only blame themselves for not being strong enough. There was no way to blame others. 3 thunderbolts fell. Qin Shijian's sledgehammer struck, the heaven list shook violently, and half a Dao seal was quietly formed. A day passed. The 5th Dao artifact was directly formed. The veins on Qin Shijian's arms under his sleeves bulged, and the true essence sledgehammer kept hammering. The star acupoints in his body formed a star river diagram, and a vast power emerged to support his consumption. And when the 5th Dao seal appeared, the thunder tribulation in the sky was violently rolling over and over again. A 5-seal Dao artifact! The thunder tribulation hasn't stopped yet. Isn't a 5-seal Dao artifact the limit? Hiss! In the void, the onlooking experts also let out a helpless groan. A 5-seal Dao artifact. In the situation where Dao artifacts were scarce in the 3 continents, a Dao artifact of this level was a powerful treasure. If it was a 6-seal Dao artifact, it was enough for some small clans to go crazy. This was why the clans in the 3 continents valued experts and were unwilling to lose them easily. The most important reason. It was because once too many experts died, and there was not enough power to suppress the fate of the clan, it would cause the fate to flow away. When that time came, it would be the doomsday of the clan. But once there was a Dao artifact that could suppress fate, this concern was no longer a concern. Can he really successfully forge a 6-seal Dao artifact? Gu Wan's face was extremely solemn. A 6-seal Dao artifact. There were only 1 or 2 of them in the God clan. It was the foundation of the entire God clan, and it existed to suppress the fate of the clan. Even if a few heavenly human experts died, the God clan would not use these 6-seal Dao artifacts to fight against the enemy. They would not be as extravagant as the human clan. They would directly use the self-destruction of the Dao artifacts to kill the enemy. Gu Xian was not relaxed either, and he said in a deep voice, "The power of the thunder tribulation is becoming stronger. If it continues to become stronger, that Dao artifact might not be able to withstand the thunder tribulation. Could it really not be able to withstand it?" Even Gu Xian himself was not sure. Maybe it could, maybe it could not. In his opinion, he hoped that Qin Shijian would succeed, but he also hoped that Qin Shijian would fail. As a master blacksmith of the God clan, Gu Xian also admitted that the Tao of blacksmithing had declined in the 3 major continents. Now, if Qin Shijian really forged a 6-seal Tao artifact, it might mean that the Tao of blacksmithing would return to its peak. No! At this moment, the other party had forged a 5-seal Tao artifact, which already represented many things. If he were Qin Shijian, that would be the case. Gu Xian would not take the risk to forge a 6-seal Tao artifact. 5 seals would be enough. Because he knew. Now, there were experts everywhere. If the 5-seal Tao artifact was forged, these people would not act rashly, because they were not confident. Although Qin Shijian seemed to be exhausted, it would not be too much. An expert who had severely injured Ling Huang. No one was willing to be his enemy. However, if he were to continue casting, the probability of failure would be even greater. There were both internal and external factors. But Gu Xian shook his head slightly and sighed. As far as I know, Qin Shujian is proud and arrogant. He has not stopped at this moment. It is obvious that he wants to continue forging the Tao artifact. In this way, the probability of failure is very high. After sighing with emotion, Gu Xian's expression suddenly changed, and he said coldly, "If there is a chance, find a way to interfere. We must not let him succeed." From his identity as a master blacksmith, he hoped that Qin Shujian would succeed. But from the God clan's point of view, he hoped that Qin Shujian would fail. Although Gu Xian was a master blacksmith, there was the word God clan in front of his title. Strictly speaking, he was a master blacksmith of the God clan. So, Qin Shujian must not succeed. As long as he did not succeed, the influence of this forging would be greatly reduced, and at the same time, the human clan would have one less treasure to protect their luck. No matter which point it was, it would be of great benefit to the God clan. Gu Wan also understood what he meant. He nodded and said, "I know. Do you want to find a way to contact the Monster Clan and the Blood Eldar? Send the message." Gu Xian nodded. If the human clan rises, it will not be just a matter of the God clan. It will not be so easy for them to watch from the sidelines. If they are really unwilling to help, then let's just sit and watch the human clan rise. That was what he said. But when it really came to that, all parties would still take action. On the mountain peak, Tianhong and the other two monster overlords looked solemn. The power of the Thunder Calamity is not weaker than the 8th level of the Celestial Being Realm. If it goes up, I'm afraid it will reach the 9th level of the Celestial Being Realm, or even the 10th level of the Celestial Being Realm. Tianhong said in a deep voice. When that time comes, it will be the time for us to take action. When it really reached the 10th level of the Celestial Being Realm, even a powerhouse like the Demon Emperor would not dare to be distracted by this. Qin Shujian was strong. But in the face of such a thunder calamity, he would definitely be unable to do anything. To be honest, Tianhong was very conflicted. He hoped that Qin Shujian would fail. Then, there would be no need for them to take action. They could just go back to their own clans. He also hoped that Qin Shujian would continue to forge. When that time came, there might even be a chance to take action and severely injure the other party. Yes, severely injure. Tianhong was not confident that he could kill Qin Shujian. His greatest hope was to injure the second strongest person of the human race. When that time came, the human emperor would be injured. Qin Shujian would also be injured. The human race's deterrence to the outside world would be weakened to the extreme. If that was the case, it would be even easier for the various clans to suppress the human race. After all, everyone knew. The human race was now at its weakest. There were not many almighty experts. The only ones holding the fort were the human emperor and Qin Shujian. But both of them were terrifyingly strong. With these two, they were comparable to dozens of almighty experts. But at the same time, once something happened to the two of them, the human race would fall off the altar. Therefore, the monster race's goal was not as simple as stopping Qin Shujian from forging the divine weapon. They also wanted to find an opportunity to severely injure Qin Shujian. As long as the other party was severely injured, it would be equivalent to the human race losing an arm. Another monster saint said, "Is there any news from the other clans? The god race has already sent a message. They are ready to join forces with us," Tianhong said calmly. He did not think much of the god race. Such a traitor race was not worthy of the monster race's attention at all. Only the god race was strong enough. Only then would the monster race cooperate with them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. Who would be willing to pay attention to the god race? Traitors were not valued no matter where they were, except for traitors with tyrannical strength. In the sky, the thunder tribulation was already bombarding continuously. The destructive power directly jumped from the 8th level of the celestial being to the 9th level of the celestial being. Qin Shujian exerted all his strength and waved the sledgehammer crazily, forging the heaven list in the direction of perfection. The sixth Tao seal. It was about to take shape. 10 days. 10 days had passed. During this period of time, the thunder tribulation did not stop for even half a breath. The destructive power bombarded continuously, and had already exceeded the range of 10,000 miles. And below the tribulation cloud, the heaven and earth phenomenon seemed to be substantial. After such a long time, it had already attracted the attention of all the powerhouses in the 3 continents. Almost every race had already sent powerhouses over. It was only because of the deterrence of Hujan and the others. For the time being, no one stepped into the human territory. It's going to transform into a 6-sealed Tao artifact. In the void, Marquis Baiyun looked at the heaven list with a look of amazement in his eyes. Compared to Qin Shujian's strength, he was truly in awe of his forging methods. A 6-sealed Tao artifact. In hundreds of thousands of years, there were only a handful of blacksmiths who could truly grow to this level. He was indeed worthy. The title of the #1 blacksmith of the human race. In the sea of consciousness, the stone spear's voice sounded. If I'm not wrong, he should have melted the fragments of the immortal ranking of the 10,000 races into it. This is the supreme treasure of the ancient heavenly court, a top-notch 9-sealed Tao artifact. However, even if he has the supreme treasure fragment, being able to forge a 6-sealed Tao seal with his bare hands is still shocking. If it was in the ancient times, he would have been a guest of honor of the various races. But he's making too much noise now. There are already more than 60 powerhouses here. If this force really wants to attack, you have to be careful. It's fine. Marquis Baiyun smiled faintly. More than 60 almighties were indeed shocking. However, Marquis Baiyun was not afraid. Instead, a hidden fighting spirit gradually awakened. So what if there were more than 60 powerhouses? Moreover, not all of these powerhouses were from the monster race or the god race. If they really wanted to attack, the human race had a chance of winning. Moreover, Marquis Baiyun looked at Qin Shujian, who was forging, and thought to himself, "What's the source of your confidence? Is it your own strength?" Boom! Another hammer fell, and the 6th Tao seal was suddenly formed. At this moment, the heaven list had been promoted to a 6-sealed Tao artifact. Qin Shujian did not stop and directly released Ling Huang's blood essence. As soon as the blood essence appeared, a huge stone figure appeared in front of everyone. That's Ling Huang. Did Qin Shujian beat Ling Huang until he lost his blood essence? Seeing the stone figure appear, the expressions of the powerhouses changed drastically. This matter was completely beyond their expectations. Ling Huang was heavily injured. Obtaining the essence blood of an Earth Spirit Emperor was a completely different matter. The former only needed to be slightly stronger. If it was the latter, he would have to crush the other party to achieve it. After all, it was the blood essence of an emperor. It was not that easy. No one expected that Qin Shujian would have Ling Huang's blood essence. Not only were the various races shocked, but even the powerhouses of the human race were stunned. Hujan was stunned as he muttered to himself, "Sect Master Qin is really ruthless. He beat Ling Huang until he spat out his blood essence." After a moment of shock, he was excited. The stronger Qin Shujian was, the better it would be for the human race. The human race. They needed such a powerhouse. The 2 almighties of the 9-headed dog clan were also stunned. They looked at each other and saw disbelief in each other's eyes. The strength of the Earth Spirit Emperor is very strong. When I fought with him a few years ago, I was not his match. He's not just strong. Ling Huang is only slightly weaker than powerhouses like the ancient Buddha Emperor and the Demon Emperor. Ling Huang was very strong. The Eldar was a lackey of the demon race. It was not that the 9-headed dog clan had not interacted with the Eldar before. However, the more they knew about Ling Huang's strength, the more they understood what the blood essence in Qin Shujian's hands meant. It meant Qin Shujian was even stronger. Moreover, the other party was in the Eldar's territory and severely injured Ling Huang. That was even more remarkable. Ling Huang, who had the luck of the demon race on him, his strength was even more terrifying. One of the 9-headed dog clan's powerhouses took a deep breath. It seems that we have to reevaluate the strength of the human race. Although the human race lacked almighties, their top combat power was really too strong. One human emperor and one Qin Shujian were enough to ensure the survival of the human race. At this moment, Qin Shujian smashed Ling Huang's shadow with his hammer and then forcefully merged the blood essence into the heaven list. As the blood essence merged, the heaven list emitted a powerful aura. Ling Huang was a powerhouse who was half a step into the Nirvana realm. The power of the blood essence of such a powerhouse was not simple. The heaven list that was about to be completed, when Ling Huang's blood essence merged, it began to tremble violently. The shadow of a Dao seal seemed to be growing within it. In the sky, the blood-red tribulation clouds were suddenly dyed with a faint black color. When the black color appeared, an ominous aura spread out, and all the powerhouses trembled. Godslayer said, "The power of the thunder tribulation has touched the boundary of the Nirvana realm. Be careful, don't force yourself if you can't hold on. A mere thunder tribulation can't do anything to me." Qin Shujian roared and displayed the celestial body. His body, which was thousands of feet tall, stood proudly in the sky. The heaven list also rose with the wind. At the same time, the destructive thunder tribulation in the sky suddenly fell. Chapter 599. Cold Mountain City was also a 6-sealed Dao artifact. The heaven list was currently upgrading to a 6-sealed Dao artifact. However, it was also a 6-sealed Dao artifact. The power of the lightning tribulation was much stronger than the previous one. If it had been in Cold Mountain City, Qin Shujian would have been defeated if the lightning tribulation had reached such a level. However, it was different now. His strength had increased by a lot. Although the power of the lightning tribulation was terrifying, it was still bearable. Boom! Destructive lightning fell as Qin Shujian hammered his sledgehammer. The terrifying power forcibly suppressed the lightning. When the first bolt of lightning fell, the 6th seal of the heaven list was formed. However, even so, the lightning did not retreat. Qin Shujian did not stop forging. A 6-sealed Dao artifact. Cold Mountain City was a 6-sealed Dao artifact. He had paid such a huge price this time. He did not plan to forge a 6-sealed Dao artifact at all. Boom! Boom! Destructive lightning fell wildly. The huge heaven list endured the lightning strikes. A giant tens of thousands of feet tall swung his hammer and suppressed all the lightning that fell. At this moment, the heaven list's power spread. It suppressed the void until it stagnated. 3 days passed. The lightning tribulation was still falling. The power of the lightning tribulation had stabilized at the Nirvana realm. Every bolt of lightning, it could severely injure or even kill an ordinary almighty. Qin Shujian did not dare to be distracted. He focused wholeheartedly. At this moment, the 6th Dao seal had already stabilized, and a new Dao seal was being born. At this moment, all the experts could no longer hold back. A 6-sealed Dao artifact was already shocking. If a 7-sealed Dao artifact was born, the luck of the human race would increase greatly. The other races were still fine. How could the races that were hostile to the human race sit by and watch the luck of the human race increase greatly? Crash! The void cracked as a huge palm came crashing down on Qin Shujian. "How dare you trespass into the human race's territory? Die!" Huazhan, the East City Lord, shouted angrily. He took a step into the air and attacked with his spear. The energy spear shattered the void and blocked the palm. Boom! A terrifying power erupted. Huazhan took a step back. At the same time, the void shattered and a person stepped out from the shattered void. Blood Eldar Elite, Zhu Yu. A mere saint dares to block my path? You're courting death. Zhu Yu looked at Hujan coldly, his words full of disdain. He was a major power of the Blood Eldar, and his strength had reached Heaven Tier 9. Although Hujan could receive a palm strike from him, his strength was only SOSO. Somewhere else. He could easily slap them to death. In the face of Zhu Yu's ridicule, Hujan laughed out of extreme anger and shouted, "Many Blood Eldar have died in the hands of our human race. Now another one is destined to be added." After saying this, Dongqing soared into the sky. Hujan lifted up the city with one hand and suppressed towards Zhu Yu. Meanwhile, Hujan's voice also rang out in the eastern part of the city, causing the panic-stricken crowd to immediately calm down. "Don't resist. There are powerful enemies invading the human territory today. I need to borrow your strength to fight them." Boom! The city crushed the void and smashed towards Zhu Yu with a force that could suppress the heavens and earth. How strong was Dongqing? It was comparable to a four-sealed Dao artifact. However, more importantly, there were shocking formations set up in the human territory, causing Dongqing's power to increase greatly. In addition, he could borrow the power of all the cultivators in Dongqing, so the city's power was even more terrifying. Therefore, although Hujan was a saint cultivator, now that he was holding Dongqing, his terrifying power was enough to make Zhu Yu's expression change. He struck out with his palm. A huge palm print landed on the city. In an instant, the city shook and the palm print shattered. It did not stop falling. Zhu Yu took a step back and avoided Dongqing's suppression. At this moment, the God race, the Demon race, and the other Blood Eldar powerhouses also attacked at the same time. 6 major powers shattered the void. At the same time, the city lords of Dongqing, Nanqing, and Beiqing soared into the sky and held the city in their hands, directly intercepting the 3 major powers. Next, the army moved out and borrowed the power of the formations in the human territory. Soaring battle intent was formed and forcibly suppressed the remaining 3 major powers. In an instant, the 7 major powers were all blocked by the human powerhouses. However, it did not stop. This was because the 3 races still had many subordinate races under them. At this moment, another major power made a move. "Marquis Baiyun, don't be impatient. Let me handle this." Dan Hao took a step forward, and the silver-white spear shattered the void and stopped the major power who attacked. The person who attacked. It was a Gold Eldar powerhouse. His strength was at the 7th level of the Heaven-Human realm. Although Dan Hao had not broken through to the 7th level of the Heaven-Human realm, he had already taken a step forward and was considered a half-step major power. In addition to the formations in the human territory, most of the human experts received a boost in strength. In that case, Dan Hao's strength was actually not much weaker than an ordinary major power. The battle broke out very quickly. Many experts who were hiding in the void had not expected that everything would progress so quickly. The battle was on the verge of breaking out. It caused the human territory to fall into complete chaos. On the other side, the heaven list was still transcending the tribulation, and Qin Shujian had no intention of stopping. Now, the Dao seal that was being nurtured had already become perfect. As long as he survived the Thunder Tribulation, the Heaven List would definitely be promoted to a 7-sealed Dao artifact. He was wholeheartedly focused on the Heaven List, completely ignoring everything that was happening around him. Marquis Baiyun stepped out of the void. Looking at the many powerhouses in the void in front of him, he said loudly, "The human race has no intention of becoming enemies with the other races. I also hope that you will not make things difficult for the human race. Otherwise, this matter will be resolved and we will fight to the death." "Fight to the death? I'd like to see where the human race gets its confidence from." A sinister voice sounded. As soon as he finished speaking, Marquis Baiyun flicked his sleeves, and his energy shattered the void. A combatant fell out from the void of space. "You'd better say it face to face. There's no point in hiding behind someone's back." Marquis Bayun glanced indifferently at the other party with a cold expression. Hearing that, the expert's face turned green and then white. Then, he flew into a rage out of humiliation and charged towards Marquis Bayun. As soon as he attacked, his power was astonishing. The stone spear crushed the void. An ancient aura swept across the world like a wave. Marquis Bayun took a step forward, and the stone spear in his hand swept out like a long spear. Under the terrifying power, it directly blew up the body of the major power who attacked. His body exploded. In the blink of an eye, he recovered. The expert's expression changed drastically, and he wanted to escape into the void without thinking. Marquis Bayun stretched out his hand and grabbed the other party. A terrifying power erupted and crushed the other party's body. Then, the stone spear pierced out and completely annihilated the spiritual deity's flesh and blood. From the beginning until now, only 2 breaths had passed, and a 7th-level heaven being had died. Marquis Bayun looked forward and shouted coldly, "Marquis Bayun of the human race is here. Who dares to be presumptuous?" His voice shook the surroundings. The many powerhouses in the void were silent. 7th-level heaven being. He was already considered an upper-class powerhouse in the 4 continents. Even so, he did not last more than 2 rounds in the hands of Marquis Bayun. Such strength was already shocking. Marquis Bayun of the human race is so strong. It's really good to be able to fight with such a powerhouse. When the major power of the 9-headed dog clan saw this scene, his eyes were filled with fighting spirit. However, he also knew that now was not the time to make a move. After all, the 9-headed dog clan had no intention of becoming enemies with the human race. One demon race. That was enough for them to suffer. If they provoked another human race, the 9-headed dog clan would not be able to bear it. Hearing that, another major power nodded in agreement. First, there was the human emperor and Qin Shujian, and now there's Marquis Bayun. Although there are few human race powerhouses, each one of them is extraordinary. These 3 people alone are enough to protect the human race. The human race has always been like this. They can always give birth to powerful existences. This time, it's even more so in the East Continent. It's really unexpected. Now that the demon race has appeared, the other races should not be able to resist. Although Marquis Bayun is strong, he should not be able to withstand it. Do you think we should make a move? Let's wait and see. There's no hurry. The 2 major powers of the 9-headed dog clan were talking with their divine wills, but their eyes fell on the battlefield. After Marquis Bayun killed an almighty powerhouse, there was a short silence. Then, the 7 almighties tore through space and surrounded Marquis Bayun silently. If any race can kill Marquis Bayun, the demon race will protect their race. If you can capture Zhu Bing, when I become an immortal, I will give you the opportunity to become an immortal. Tianhong shouted as he looked at Marquis Bayun, who was fighting against 7 major powers, after pushing South City Lord back with 1 palm. His words, immediately, many powerhouses of different races were tempted. Not many people believed that he could become an immortal. However, Tianhong's words made some powerhouses think. The demon race was a major race in the West Continent. If they could get in touch with the demon race, it would be a good thing for them. When South City Lord saw this, he shouted coldly, "Don't listen to the demon race's slanderous words." Earthling Huan was severely injured by the human race, and the entire Earth's spirit secret realm was sealed. The human race will treat those who are not enemies with the human race as friends. If they are enemies with the human race, we will fight to the death in the future. Hearing that, some powerhouses who were tempted hesitated again. Indeed, Earthling Huang's incident was a deterrent. However, because the Eldar had participated in the siege of the human race, he was severely injured by the human race, and even his essence blood was spilled. Now, the entire Earth's spirit secret realm was sealed, and he was recuperating. If the human race came to settle the score after this incident, not many races were confident that they could fight against the human race. Hearing that, anger flashed across Tianhong's face, and then he said in a deep voice, The human race is ambitious. In ancient times, the Emperor Heaven enslaved all races. Now that the human race has come out of the East continent, it is obvious that they want to restore their ancient glory. If we don't want to be enslaved, we can only fight back. If the human race becomes stronger, you won't be able to escape. There is a saying in the human race that has been passed down from generation to generation, and that is, those who are not of our race must have different intentions. If you watch now, don't blame me for not warning you when the human race invades your city in the future. At the mention of the ancient human race, some people's expressions change slightly. The ancient human race! For some races, it would be an eternal pain. At that time, the human race was the most glorious race, but it did not mean that all races were equally glorious in the ancient times. Tianhong's words, it could be said that some people had been provoked. Tianhong suppressed City Lord Nan with his palm, forcing him to be speechless. At the same time, he shouted, "Any race that attacks is a friend of the demon race. No matter what grudges you have in the past, you can forget about them. If the human race attacks your races, the demon race will definitely support you with all our strength. Paul and the others will be fine. If you violate this, the demon race will be despised by all races in the 4 continents." Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, immediately, another 6 Almighties attacked. The void collapsed. Marquis Bayun's aura was like a rainbow, and he was not at a disadvantage against the 7 Almighties. Now, another 6 Almighties attacked. The true essence in his body surged, and he took a step forward. The long river of laws broke through the air. God-tier martial arts! The 9 steps of immortal ascension! After taking 9 steps, the long river of laws fell under his feet, and a terrifying power suppressed the world. All the Almighties who attacked coughed up blood and retreated. At the same time, Marquis Bayun's physical body also trembled, but his expression did not change, and his fighting spirit soared. Then, the stone spear in his right hand blasted out, and the terrifying power turned the void in front of him into turbulence. His left hand performed the dark heaven of the underworld. The black saber energy blasted out like feathers, covering all the Almighties. In the face of such an attack, all the Almighties attacked at the same time. Their terrifying true essence gathered into a torrent and collided fiercely with the black saber energy. In an instant, the world went silent. Many Almighties' bodies trembled, and Marquis Bayun's body also collapsed. However, he did not take half a step back. Instead, he took a step forward and suppressed all the aftershocks that spread out. Then, the stone spears swept across the void, crushing the bodies of 2 Almighties who could not dodge in time. Some Almighties were terrified. However, some Almighties found an opportunity to attack Marquis Bayun. Suddenly, Marquis Bayun's back was badly mutilated, and blood flowed out of his mouth. However, such an injury did not make his aura drop. Instead, it became more powerful. The 9 steps of immortal ascension suppressed him. The stone spear fell with a loud bang. The top of the head of an Almighty who attacked was directly smashed, and the spiritual deity in his sea of consciousness was also annihilated in an instant. His headless body fell from the void. A bloody battle. A real bloody battle. How long had it been since the start of the battle? There were 13 Almighties besieging Marquis Bayun, but so far, 3 of them had died. As a price, Marquis Bayun was also seriously injured. However, looking at his rainbow-like aura, there was no sign of him being defeated at all. Such strength, it made the expressions of many experts change. Marquis Bayun's strength was also very outstanding the last time. He fought against 5 9th-level heaven human experts without being defeated. Among the cultivators besieging Marquis Bayun, there were not many 9th-level heaven human experts. However, 13 Almighties joined forces and were not much weaker than 5 9th-level heaven human experts. But even so, Marquis Bayun still killed 3 of them. In this regard, some people were already in a dilemma. Marquis Bayun's strength was beyond some people's imagination. In their opinion, he might be the second Qin Shujian. What a terrifying strength! Even if he was not the strongest of a clan, he would not be too far off. Until now, the number of Almighties who attacked had already reached 21. However, there were already 4 Almighties who had died. The 4 city lords were saint experts after all. With the convenience of the array and the advantage of the city, their strength had skyrocketed and they had the possibility to contend with Almighties. However, their true strength, they were still a little lacking. At this point in the battle, some people had already fallen into a disadvantage. However, falling into a disadvantage did not mean that they would lose the battle. The situation was in a stalemate for a while. The lightning tribulation continued to fall. The 7th Tao seal on the heaven list had already taken shape at this moment. Boom! The aura of the heaven list suddenly became vast. 7 Seal Tao artifact. The aura suppressed the world. Just when the others thought that Qin Shujian had succeeded in refining, they saw that he was still tempering the heaven list. The lightning in the sky did not stop either. What's going on? Why hasn't the lightning tribulation stopped yet? The 7 Seal Tao artifact has already been completed. Logically speaking, the lightning tribulation should have subsided. Why hasn't it stopped yet? Could it be? Some Almighties thought of a certain guess and were instantly shocked. At this point, the lightning tribulation still had not subsided. Didn't that mean that the heaven list was not as simple as a 7 Seal Tao artifact? Instead, 8 Seal Tao artifact. Thinking of this possibility, the Almighties who were watching the battle groaned helplessly in their hearts. 8 Seal Tao artifact. Qin Shujian really dared to do it. The current situation had already reached this point, and the other party still did not stop. Could it be that he really had some trump card? No one was sure. However, seeing that the South City Lord was about to be beaten to death by Tianhong, they felt that it was unlikely. At this time, if he really had any trump cards, he should have taken them out. Still, Qin Shujian was so confident in the human race's almighties that they could be too lazy to care about the other almighties and forge the 8 Seal Tao artifact with peace of mind. 8 Seal Tao artifact. The lightning tribulation produced by the 8 Seal Tao artifact is not easy to suppress even for Nirvana Realm almighties. You should be careful. God Slayer did not know where Qin Shujian's confidence came from. However, he did not stop the other party and only reminded him. Looking at the descending lightning, Qin Shujian had already activated the 13,200 star acupoints in his body to the limit. A huge star river diagram emerged from his body and then integrated into the vital essence hammer. This was another use of the star river diagram that he had discovered when he was studying the mysteries of the body. After integrating the star river diagram, the vital essence hammer suddenly shone like a star. Next, when the lightning tribulation fell, it carried endless power and smashed down fiercely. Bang! The sound of thunder rang out. The lightning struggled frantically, but the star river diagram on the vital essence hammer suppressed it and forcibly destroyed it. Instantly, the heaven list absorbed the power of the lightning, and the 7 Tao seals trembled together. A Tao rhyme was born from it, as if a new Tao seal was about to be born. The lightning tribulation was destruction. It was also a new life. The more lightning tribulation one endured, the more power one could absorb. Because it was using the fragments of the immortal leaderboard as a carrier, the upper limit of the heaven list was also extremely high. The 7 Seal Tao artifact was not its limit at all. So, now that Qin Shujian did not stop forging, the heaven list was steadily increasing. If an expert helps at this time, I can help him refine a top spiritual weapon comparable to a 4 Seal Tao artifact, or give him a 1 Seal Tao artifact that can suppress fate. When the South City Lord coughed up blood, Qin Shujian suddenly said in a clear voice. While speaking, the forging did not stop. Hearing this, some of the experts who were still watching were also tempted. A Tao artifact that could suppress fate. Even if it was only a 1 Seal Tao artifact, it was still a rare treasure. One had to know. With the passage of time, a Tao artifact could slowly advance by itself. Although it was a one-sealed Tao artifact at this time, it might not be impossible for it to grow up after 10,000 or 100,000 years. As for a top spiritual weapon comparable to a four-sealed Tao artifact, it was also a good reward. However, the clans that were making a move now were all big clans in the three major continents. If they helped the human race at this time, they would undoubtedly become enemies with these big clans. Although a Tao artifact was good, they had to be alive to enjoy it. There's no need for a one-sealed Tao artifact. I need Sect Master Qin to refine a top spiritual weapon for me after this. I don't know if this is true. A middle-aged man dressed in black stepped out of the void and looked at Qin Shujian, who was forging the heaven list, and said in a deep voice, "Of course. Then how much is the reward if you kill a mighty figure? I'll go all out to refine a top spiritual weapon comparable to a six-sealed Tao artifact for you, but the premise is that you have to prepare the materials yourself." "Okay." The middle-aged man in black nodded slightly, then looked at the imposing Tianhong and said with a smile, "Tianhong, when did you degenerate to this extent? You actually bullied a saint cultivator and haven't taken him down after so long. It seems that you're getting worse and worse. Why don't you play with me?" After saying this, the middle-aged man in black took a step forward and swung the horsetail whisk in his hand. The black horsetail whisk turned into countless black silk threads, piercing through the void like a beehive, causing Tianhong to have a great warning in his heart. Without thinking, he just took a step back and avoided the middle-aged man in black's attack. Immediately after, Tianhong stared at the other party with a gloomy face and said coldly, "Black Crow Taoist, are you sure you want to be enemies with the Demon Clan?" "Ha ha, Tianhong, why are you still so ridiculous?" The middle-aged man in black, who was also Black Crow Taoist, seemed to have heard a joke. Then, his face turned cold, and he said indifferently, "Your Demon Clan destroyed my Black Crow Clan. You and I have already fought to the death. Unfortunately, I'm not strong enough to destroy your Demon Clan. However, it's enough to kill you today. Don't forget that you're also a member of the Demon Clan. Now that you're standing with the Human Clan, you're bringing shame to the Demon Clan." "Humph, what bullshit is Demon Clan? I'm from the Black Crow Clan. The so-called Demon Clan is just a bunch of ball-less trash. A clan that was beaten to a pulp by the Demon Emperor. How dare they be proud of the title of Demon Clan? What a joke." Black Crow Taoist sneered. Demon Clan. In his opinion, they were the product of a bunch of trash clans. In ancient times, they were beaten to a pulp by the Demon Emperor. Their bones were broken and they could not stand up for countless years. Tianhong's so-called honor of the Demon Clan. In Black Crow Taoist's opinion, it was simply ridiculous. Hearing that, Tianhong was instantly furious and his killing intent soared. "You're courting death. After this, there will be no place for you in the four major continents. Stop bragging. I've been free for thousands of years. What can you Demon Clan do to me?" Black Crow Taoist was disdainful. He did not wait for Tianhong to make a move and had already taken the initiative to attack. If it was in the past, he would not have thought of fighting with the other party. After all, Tianhong was not weak. But now, he had joined forces with City Lord Nan. Black Crow Taoist had the confidence to kill the other party. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.